Hello, everyone. Hello. Forgot the music again. Yes, I'm guilty of it. What's up, Omanike? Forgot the music again, but I keep saying I'll remember it, but I always forget. As soon as I hang up off of a live, I don't even think about it no more, and then I'll be going on to the next thing I have to do. But anyway, we're gonna wait for a few minutes for people to get in here, and then we're gonna get started as usual with the normal introductions. What's up, Jewel? Today is just gonna be a Q&A Sundays, and if there's no questions, we won't be on that long. So if you're new to the channel, thank you for joining. If you came from another channel and you heard me on a panel and you decided to come to this channel, just let me know where you found out about SMD. I appreciate it. We changed the Ramil for tomorrow, but he has a live tonight right now. I think it's going on right now. And just, his introduction, his music is nice. Just to have some music playing for the first 2 or 3 minutes is nice. I like that. I didn't think it was a big deal, but it is kind of a big deal. It is kind of a big deal. Get in here. Welcome to the channel on the internet that's different than all others. Welcome. The channel that'll help you change your life forever. You'll never be the same once you become debt free. Once that happens, your whole world changes. Everything changes in it. I mean, not only financially, but your relationships, everything. You'll get rid of the people that have been holding you back, and it makes room for the new people that are on your same frequency. You guys talk about the same things, got the same types of goals. I mean, not the exact same goals, but goal oriented stuff like that. You'll actually have people that legitimately want to help you for free. You know what I'm saying? Because your success means their success. It's something so natural about that, man, because when you help somebody else become successful, it always comes back. It does. I can't really explain that. I remember hearing that, things like that come back. They do. They come back. And the way they come back is through the people you help. That's how man, it really does work that way when you genuinely help somebody change their life for the better. It's crazy. That's how the universe works. Anyway, we'll get started. My name is LJ Young, and I'm a 100% debt-free motivational speaker, personal finance educator. I help people become financially free by helping them mathematically see outside what I call the debt matrix. And the debt matrix is a place where slaves live. There's 2 kinds of slaves. There's unconscious slaves and conscious slaves. Unconscious slaves don't trust math, and they don't know they don't trust math. Like, for example, somebody believing they're a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage. There's only one way to buy a house. That's cash. And since you don't have any, you need a mortgage. Okay. And all you got to do is open up your calculator, put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, hit equal. The calculator clearly tells you that you're not a homeowner because those numbers are in the negative, below zero. So that means if you still believe you're a homeowner, even though the calculator showing you negative numbers, you are what's called an unconscious slave. Now, conscious slaves, which was me, were once unconscious. I found Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey basically said, take the arithmetic that we learned in grade school, apply it to your finances using these baby steps, and then you'll win. And that's what I did. Since it was math, since I just really figured out it was just mathematics, I just said, oh, well, I don't really need any of the programs or buy anything because it's just math. That's how I looked at it. And I just did it. And so once I got to zero, it wasn't until I got to zero where I realized I was a conscious slave. I didn't know. I mean, I guess I didn't know. No, excuse me. Before I got to zero, I still didn't know I was a slave. Okay, I was not a slave because I didn't have anybody around me to explain what I'm trying to explain to you now. I'm bouncing back from back then to now. But it wasn't until I got to zero when I realized I was a slave because I turned around and realized I had been in debt in my whole entire life to age 40, from 18 to age 40. I didn't realize that because I followed all the rules of the debt. People in the debt matrix say you're supposed to be college educated, six-figure earner, nice house, nice car, blah blah blah. And I achieved all that because I thought that's what I was supposed to do to be a successful man or a high value man or whatever. But I remember uh, I remember standing in my fancy high rise apartment looking at my stuff. It was just me there, it was nobody else there. I was just off work, still had my bag in my hand. I opened the door and the sun was going down. I still remember it like it was yesterday. And I was looking at everything and I said to myself, something's missing. I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to have this feeling of happiness or something. That's how they describe it to you. When you're not college educated and six-figure earner and a nice IT job like I had, blah, 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 you don't, you imagine this, it must feel right because you have this stuff. That's what you think. So that's what I did. I worked hard to achieve it. And then once I achieved it, I was like, where's this feeling I'm supposed to have? And it wasn't there. And I just didn't know what the answer was. But anyway, long story short, what it was, I was in debt. I didn't own any of that. I was living in the negative. The place I lived in, the car I drove, the clothes I bought, the furniture, the way it was fixed up, everything was charged on credit cards, credit, payments, all that. That means if I was making payments, that means I didn't have the money to buy it. Hence payments. Payments themselves tell you that. I mean, the very fact that I was making payments, that should have told me that I didn't have the money for it because I was making payments. And on top of that, I financed something that goes down in value. It's like, if you think about it, anything that goes down in value, and I was financing it, but at the same time, it was going up in value for the people I was financing through, which was the bank. So going down in value and it's natural devalue of just stuff, and then up at the same time due to interest. That's bananas to me. It's like, if you think about it this way, like say like you went and bought a $2,000 Gucci purse or something like that, and that's cheap. I'm just saying, I just want to keep it simple, right? You could take that purse out of the store, buy $2,000, and don't even unwrap it, right? Don't touch it. It's still in the box. And then you say, hey, I want to sell it to somebody. I'm gonna sell it on eBay, or I'm gonna sell it on. Well, you're not gonna get as much as it was. You're not gonna get $2,000 plus tax out of like you did in the store. It kind of shows you the value. The value of anything is just what you think the value is. It doesn't. You could say, hey, I'm selling this for say like you bought the purse for 2,000 plus tax. It came up to 2,500, right? And then you go try to sell it for 2,500. They'd be like, no. Well, I didn't touch it. It's still brand new. They wouldn't care because it's not coming from the store, because the store earned the customer's trust to be able to charge that much money for a purse, right? It's not about the value of the item. It's about the value from the company that sold it. Because you could buy that purse, bring it out the store, don't touch, and try to sell it for 2,500. Nobody's going to buy it from you for 2,500 because they say, oh, I just go to the store. Well, it's the same thing. No, it's not. Right. So once I got out of the debt matrix, I realized that millions of people didn't know what I know, because when I was discovering getting out of debt, I was trying to tell all my friends and family, and nobody was listening to me. They were like, oh, that's crazy. That's nonsense. I'm like, no, it's not. Look, if you just pay your car off, you don't have payments, and it goes, they wasn't trying to hear it. And then I realized millions of people do that. The picture kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I realized I had a gift, the gift of helping people get out of the debt matrix, because people don't know they're in the debt matrix, right? So next thing you know, I started this channel. It started out as Debt Ain't My Daddy. A lot of you guys don't know that. It started out as Debt Ain't My Daddy, and then it transformed into Savings Minus Debt. Because when I had Debt Ain't My Daddy, people still had opinion on it. They thought, a lot of people thought it was funny, but then they said, they started saying things like, "Oh, that ain't my daddy," this and that. And then I was like, okay, it's it's too much up for opinion. And then when I discovered savings minus debt is just a mathematical formula that you can't have an opinion on. It just is what it is. Period. No matter how you feel about it. I said, that's it. So I took what I learned from Dave Ramsey, stripped out the religion because it was just mathematics. Stripped out the religion, has nothing to do with what religion. 1+1=2 in any religion you can think of, right? And then I stripped out his baby step 4 of saving for retirement once you get down to your mortgage. But according to the laws of mathematics, if you put in your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, you have no money to put away retirement for anything or anywhere. That's impossible. So that means you can't save for retirement. You can't get tax benefits. You can't, because you have no money to do it in the first place. That's what I realized, right? The calculator never lies. So now I knew this was going to be an uphill battle, because I knew if I couldn't convince my family and people that love me of this way of thinking about money, total strangers was really going to have a problem with it, right? That they don't know, who is this guy? He think he come in here and change everything. That's credit don't mean anything, and blah. But I had to think like this. I said, there have to be other people like me wandering around knowing something's wrong, but they just can't put their finger on it. Because I trust me, I was looking, I was like, man, I see some people rich and wealthy or whatever, but you really don't know how. I started coming up with these things. Maybe it's family money, or maybe it's, just stuff like that. You just don't know, right? But once I got out of the debt matrix, it was a clear, easy road, not easy, but a clear way to do it. First, I had to own myself by getting out of debt. I couldn't own anything outside of myself if I didn't own myself. Nobody told me what I know today. I had to discover this on my own. And so I said to myself, if I can reach other people like me, I can help them. Way easier get to this thing that they don't even know exists. That's the problem right there. A lot of people that are wandering around the debt matrix, they'll see me. They'll come across SMD, and then they'll see the math. They'll be like, but that math is right. Because I've heard many of you guys say the same thing. You guys don't know you say the same thing, but it's like the word slave, the word slave got the attention of the people, right? Because if I didn't use the word slave, nobody would really pay attention to me. But since I use the word slave, they're like, man, why is this dude using this word so, like, with no remorse or anything? He's just saying it out loud. But then they compare it to the math. They're like, but his math is right. So it started making them think, why am I triggered by the word slave? But when people call him a slave, it doesn't even bother him. And then it started catching traction. So after that, I started, what I did was start getting on, first I started on Facebook, and then I moved, and then I found out, I started to realize Facebook was only the majority of people on my Facebook were just like me when I was in the debt matrix. They're not going to pay attention to me. And that's exactly what happened. Most of my friends thought I was trying to be better than them, or I was doing something and I think I'm better than what they. No, I'm like, no, man, just look at the calculator. I'm not trying to be better than you. I'm not saying I'm even smarter than you. If you just look at the calculator, they just wouldn't do it. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. I get it. I'm asking them to change the way they have been looking at money and credit their entire life. And here's somebody stepping in saying, oh man, you're doing it all wrong. It's like, who are you? You ain't got no finance degree. They always come up with all this stuff, right? Because they believe I need a finance degree to do what I'm doing. I'm like, I don't need a finance degree. I got a calculator. See the calculator app? Open it up. Yeah, just put in the numbers and hit enter. That's it. That's all you got to do. And the hard part is to believe it. Now, if you want to leave the debt matrix, this is how you leave the debt matrix. Anytime it comes to your money, all you have to do is believe your calculator and you'll be free. That's it. Just trust it. And when I say, I'm saying that wrong because words are important, especially when it comes to money. All you have to do is trust your calculator because your calculator and math is not a belief. That's a science. Math is a scientific fact. Math is a scientific fact. It's never wrong, ever, ever. Math and money are one. The only thing that can separate math from money are feelings, how you feel about it. 1 second, you guys. Coming over a cold steel. All you have to do is trust your calculator. That's when the hard work starts. First, you have to accept to yourself, you got to say, damn, I'm a slave. But what you don't realize once you accept that, at the moment you accept yourself, calling yourself a slave, that's the moment you become conscious. That's the hardest step. That is the hardest step of the whole process. Realizing that you're a slave, realizing that. That's the hardest step. Once you realize you're a slave, you're like, oh, well, I don't want to be a slave. That's when you start taking steps to do it. That's what I did. I sold everything, moved in with my sister. And just you guys hear him on the panels, they think, oh, look, he ain't nobody. He's a slave to rent. They don't get it. They don't understand it takes sacrifice to become free. And once you understand this, it doesn't matter the opinions of slaves. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me one bit when a slave talks about me negatively. It doesn't bother. They're slaves. They're just mad. And they're not even mad at me. They're mad at mathematics. I didn't invent math. Math was here when I was born. It'll be here when I'm dead. Once I realized that, the picture started getting bigger and bigger. Damn, without slaves, the car financing industry couldn't exist. Student loans wouldn't exist. Credit cards wouldn't exist. All that, I was like, whoa. It got bigger and big and still continues to get bigger. And and I said, you know what? I have to help some people see what it feels like to be free. So and I said to myself, in order for people to believe me, I have to actually do what I'm saying. I can't just say, hey, you do it. So I say, you know what? I had a 6-figure job. I quit it. As soon as I got out of debt, paid off all my debt. And this is a lot of people don't really understand this and maybe will never know this. All right. And I didn't know this until I got out of the debt matrix. Okay. Now, after I got debt free, I still worked one more year at my job, a computer engineer, 6-figure earner, 160 a year. But that last year, it felt like confinement. That's what I didn't have. Here I am working at this place for years. Didn't bother me Monday through Friday, 8+ hours a day, get in my car, go there, come back. But once I got debt free, it was weird. I was like, the drive to work started to bother me. Then when I would pull up into the parking lot, I would say to myself, I got to be in this building for 8 hours plus, only free for an hour for lunch. And then I got to come back after lunch. This is the stuff running through my brain. And then I started saying, wait a minute, I got 40+ hours. I'm salary at this time. Okay. But what I didn't know, now that I'm bouncing back and forth in and out of the debt matrix, they were getting way more than 40 hours a week out of me for salary, way more than that, way more than that. But I thought, hey, that's just part of your job. You're supposed to do off the clock, answer calls. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's working for free. That's the true definition of a slave, when you're working for free. And then I started thinking to myself, well, who came up with the 40-hour work week? Who says 40 hours Monday through Friday is the standard? I really started questioning that. I was like, And then I started paying attention to all the time they were calling me after hours. And I was like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. That doesn't seem right. It was just a totally different experience at work till one day, something just said, hey man, it's time to quit. I swear to God, I've been working 20 years, IT virtualization, worked very hard to get where I was at, and something said it's time to quit. Because I was thinking, wait, there's 7 days in a week, and I only own 2 days out of 7 days, Saturday and Sunday, if that. And really not full 2 days, because about Sunday afternoon, you're already preparing mentally in your brain for work the next day. And people think since it's not physical, it's not really work. But if you're like 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday and you start thinking about your job on Monday, you're already there. You're not where you're at. You're not relaxing or doing whatever you want to do without thinking. You're already preparing yourself for the next day for work. That means you're already there. I didn't know these things till I freed myself. I'm telling you guys outside the debt matrix. Okay. So when I quit, people thought I was crazy, smoking crack, whatever. What are you doing? You sold all your stuff, L. You moving in with your sister, but I don't care what you slaves think. I don't care. I didn't care. I was like, who was saying these things to me? People making car payments, mortgage payments, credit card payments, furniture payments, refrigerator TV payment, refrigerator inside TV payments. They didn't know. They did not know. So I had to ignore them. Worship credit gods on their knees, begging, praying to Equifax and TransUnion, and whatever the other one. And I'm thinking to myself, do you guys know those are private companies, right? Those are private businesses. Those are businesses for profit, right? Do you know that they didn't care? Whatever. Credit score means everything. If you don't have good credit, you ain't nothing. That's a lie. No, you don't need it. That's a tool. But the more people were saying that, I was just like, man, this is some powerful stuff. They don't even hear what I'm saying. And it was simple. So I started getting on YouTube, talked to myself for a year to myself. Something said, keep going, L, just keep going. Don't matter. It don't matter. Keep going, keep going. I'm like, this is a waste of time. But during this year, you got to remember, after I quit my job, I had a savings. Okay, I didn't quit with just no money, just so you guys understand that. But when you have no debt and you got low overhead as far as lights and cable and all this other stuff, life is easy. It's not even expensive at all. Not even expensive, not even at the closest. Then I started learning ways how to get the same services as everybody else for a quarter of the price. I figured all this out. I was like, wait a minute. I can have the same cell phone as everybody, just buy the phone in cash, and I can buy a year's service up front for $20 a month for the same service as everybody else. You sure can. That's what I did. And so I started figuring out other ways. What can I do to cut my insurance and cut my car insurance? Man, I figured it all out. Everything. That's called phantom income, when you pay less than the majority. So if the majority, so for example, say like when you hear the word average, like the average car payment is $500 a month. What the average is millions upon millions of slaves making the same financial decisions as one. So they come up with the average car payment. So the average car payment is $500 a month, right? That's $6,000 a year. If I don't have a car payment, that means I make $6,000 more per year than the average. That's called phantom income. The only way you can see that and earn phantom income, you cannot be in debt. So since slaves don't know you can be debt free, they have no idea phantom income exists. They have no idea and never will, because they can't see it, because they can't see negative numbers. I didn't know all that. So I kept going. I said, this is something. This is big. This is bigger than me. This was what I kept saying to myself. This is bigger than me, man. This millions of people don't know what I know. I felt like I had a Superman cape on or something. People were hating me. Oh man, who you think you are? I said, I got to ignore those people. Got to ignore them all. Came up with savings minus debt, and here I am today. Started out with consultation, still do it, but it's this road right here is a very non, since they can't see it, since the majority can't see me, it doesn't look like it's going to be doing it. I mean, you compare it to the slaves, and that's millions of slaves, so you think, oh, it's not that big. It's bigger than, that's why it's going to cost the most money out of all of it, because it's rare. You can't see it. I always tell people SMD is going to be worldwide. I already know it because I can see it right now. Millions of people don't know what SMD knows. Millions. I can prove it. And to say, just to get on the mic, I know when they hear me say, excuse me, when they hear me say I'm never wrong, they do, they think I'm saying it out of ego, or they're saying who does this guy think he is? They don't realize I'm saying the reason why I'm saying I'm never wrong because I always agree with the calculator. That's why I'm never wrong. They don't know that. They start if you listen to them, they start making up stuff. Oh, you got your own calculator, you got your own math. There's only one math. There's only one. There are not multiple versions of mathematics. There's one. And I'm not even talking mathematics. I'm talking about a branch of mathematics, simple arithmetic. Slaves will get even more offended if I stop saying math and just start saying arithmetic. They'll become more offended. Oh, it can't be that simple. Well, it is. It is that simple. But in the bigger scheme of things, the bigger plan of these, somebody designed this. I want you, the S&D family members, that I want you guys to really understand this. Somebody designed this. They said somebody came up with this and said, I'm going to make it so simple, people won't even believe it. It'll be so simple. It's too simple. That's too simple to become wealthy. How do you become wealthy? Trust arithmetic. Oh man, shut up. Get out of here. That's not it. They say it all the time. You should see them in the chat rooms. Oh man, that's not that simple. That's simple math. He thinks yes, it is. Yes, it is. Somebody designed this. You try to go up to a slave and talk about phantom income, they will have no idea what you're talking about. Phantom. It's only because it's phantom to them. They cannot see negative numbers. Now, if you're new to the channel and you're wondering if this is you, okay? Now remember, out of people with gifts, I have a gift, just like thousands of other people have gifts and different things. But the difference between my gift and the majority of other people's gifts, I can prove my gift. Most people's gifts, you can't physically say, there it is. This is what it looks like. It's the shape of this. You can't see it, right? But you can clearly see if somebody has a gift, right? But you don't know how they have their gift, right? Like if somebody picks up an instrument and just naturally starts to play with no practice, you okay, damn, that's a gift. You can see it, but you can't say, well, how is he doing that? How did that happen? My gift, I can prove it because I can open up the calculator and show you. So if this is you, like if you believe you're a homeowner right now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to open up your calculator app, enter your mortgage payment minus your mortgage balance, and hit equal. Now your calculator is going to show you a large negative number. Okay, that negative number says you are not a homeowner. It says you're not. But if you look at the calculator and say, I still believe I'm a homeowner, you're an unconscious slave. Now, let's go a little deeper than that so you guys can really get it. What it is, because I want everybody to understand that everybody has a choice. Now, when I call people slaves, I'm not really calling them a slave. What they really are is a slave to unconscious ego. You don't have to follow unconscious ego. You don't have to follow it. You have a choice. That's what I was following unconscious ego until age 40. And I said, wait a minute, this unconscious ego is taking me the wrong way. So I stopped. I said, I don't have to be a slave to that unconscious ego. No, you don't. You could stop and turn around. You could say, look at the calculator and just believe it. That's what I did. Simple arithmetic. Simple arithmetic. That's it. Then you're free. Is the road going to be rough? Yep. Yeah. And when I say rough, it's going to be a lot of opposing unconscious slaves. Now, it doesn't matter because you're going to right here. This is why I created S&D family. You always have a place to go. See, you won't have to be like me wandering around trying to find people like yourself. And when you do, how do you see them? You can't see SMD family members. You can't just look at it and say, "Hey, they're black, they're white, it's a short girl, tall girl, skinny girl, fat girl." You don't know. It's called the language of zero. Unconscious slaves don't know the language of zero exists. And let me give you an example so you can understand what that means. All right. If you're with a group of friends that all have student loans and believe it's normal to go to college for 4 years and keep your student loans your entire life, you guys live in the debt matrix because that's not true. People that speak the language of zero know better than that. If you are one of the people hanging on by a thread every word President Biden says about student loan relief or whatever, you're what's called an unconscious slave. You free yourself. He doesn't have to free you. You can do it yourself. You don't have to wait for the president. He wasn't there when you signed the papers, was he? No? Then you don't have to wait for him. You can do it yourself. I kept my student loans for 10 years. 10 years. I could have paid those student loans off in year one. Year two at the max. Year two at the max. But since I was like everybody else, I thought, hey, I'm gonna go get me a house. I don't feel like waiting to pay off those student loans, man. These house prices, same thing what's going on now. It's always the same. Okay. Oh man, house prices will be too high if I wait too long. Blah. It don't matter if you ain't got any money. If you got no money, don't worry about what house prices are doing. Don't worry about what the stock market's doing. Don't worry about retirement. Don't worry about your future, whatever. Don't worry about any of that. You don't have no money. You can't buy a house with no student loan. If you have student loan debt, you can't buy a house. If those are your friends and all you and your friends have house mortgages, subprime, listen, if you got a subprime mortgage with student loan debt that's older than your subprime mortgage, that's why they're your friends. You guys are all slaves to unconscious ego. You have a choice not to follow unconscious ego. You don't have to. Just trust your calculator. That's it. And then you'll be free. But fortunately, I created this area where a space that you can come and be you, where you don't have to be ridiculed or downplayed because you're saying something smart. You know how it is in those chat rooms, but I could tell the SMD family members that follow me on the panels, you guys have no problem anymore holding back. Hey man, you just say it, call them a slave. No, that's not true. It's comfortable because you got other SMD family members with you, not just by yourself. Because it's more slaves than us. Now, remember, it has to be more slaves than us because just because I talk about this, I like the way the economy is set up. I want you guys to understand that because it's all the choice. Taxes are not bad. Taxes are not evil. The IRS agents are not evil. They're not bad guys. Nope, they're just doing the jobs. Look at IRS agents as the referees of the economy to make sure you're playing right. No different than any other game you play, basketball, football, baseball, whatever. If there were no referees out there, you think football would be the same if there were no referees on the field? It wouldn't even be the same, right? Like on the football field, you do a face mask, you get a 15-yard penalty. In the economy, if the IRS catches you, you get a 15-year penalty for tax evasion. It's the same thing, just longer sentences. That's it. They're going to blow the whistle, do the T sign or whatever they do, and 15 years. Same thing. They're just the referees to make sure you're playing right because taxes are the backbone of the economy. If they didn't force you to play, you guys wouldn't play. Did I know this when I was in the debt matrix? Nope. I was just on the wrong side of it. I was just like all the other slaves. Oh man, the taxes are killing me. Oh, insurance is so high, blah, blah, blah. No, it was me. It was me financing shit. When you get out of debt matrix, things are not that expensive as it looks like. It's not like that. Because you got two incomes. You got physical income and you got phantom income. Totally. It just, and when I describe this to you, this is what I see, you guys. This is what I see. It's crystal clear. And I always try to describe this to you so people can really understand it. I try to use the physical things that you guys know and so I can describe what it is, because I can't physically show you like, hey, there's a slave over there, unless I look at their personal credit report. You can't go by stuff. Hold on for a quick second. Once you're out of the debt matrix, you don't go by people's stuff anymore. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. It doesn't matter what they show on social media. It doesn't matter what kind of pants or shirt or what their haircut. It doesn't, none of that matters. What the house they live in, the car they drive, that doesn't matter. If they're making payments, they're slaves. Period. If their student loan debt is older than every single other debt in their life, they're a complete slave. They don't know me, and people like me can see them. They don't know that we exist. And when I say exist, people that trust calculators. Okay, I don't want you guys going off some sci-fi. Who you think he is? Just some kind of no. I'm talking about people that trust the calculator. Okay, don't go crazy. When you exit the debt matrix, imagine being like I always use this metaphor because it's the best. When you're in a office building or even in your own house, and maybe the heater's running, or it could be the washer running in the background. They call it white noise, right? And then when those machines just stop, it kind of gets your attention, because then at that moment you realize how noisy it was, but you wasn't paying attention to it because you just put it in the background of your mind. That's how it is when you step out the debt matrix. All the chatter comes to a hush. Then you realize all the people that just talking, they're just talking. Blah, 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 blah. They just, after a while, you just shut them out. Don't even hear them anymore. But then if you discover this by yourself, you just have to be quiet in your own world. You can't say nothing. You got to watch your loved ones just bury themselves deep in debt, and you can't say nothing. Just watch them slowly die. Oh man, I'm getting in. And then this is what they start doing. They start bragging about all the overtime they're getting. Oh man, I'm getting in that overtime and getting paid. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not getting paid. You're getting less. Slaves think if they work more hours, they're getting more money. It's like you just want to walk up to them. Hey, you do know about tax brackets, right? Yeah. The more you make, the more tax they take. Do you understand that? Oh man, I'm getting paid, man. They start adding up how much they're going to get, double time and a half. Why are you adding that up? You're not getting that. You are not getting what you're adding up in your head. You're not getting that. Try to tell a slave that, then they start just keep on, and then oh man, I'm getting in that 60, 70 hour, 80 hours a week. I don't want to work that much. I don't even want to work 40, 30, 20. I don't want to even work. And they're bragging on it. Oh, and you can't go up to one of them and say, "Hey, man, when your kid's birthday come and it passes because you're at work, you can never get that birthday back. You do know that, right? You can't make it up. You can't go. You go up to you probably go up to the kid. Hey, I'm sorry, little Johnny. I'll make it up to you. Stop lying to your kid. You can't. But you can go. You got a time machine? Wait a minute. You can go back in time. Then why you have a job? You invented a time machine, right? What do you mean I invented a time machine? You just said you're gonna make it up to little Johnny, right? His sixth birthday is gone forever. You can't go back and get that. How you gonna do that? Oh, you think you're gonna buy him a present with some of that overtime money? It's gonna change anything? No, it's not. Sorry. So, in order for people to believe anything I'm saying, I had to do it. I had to quit my job. I had to move out, sell all my stuff, all that stuff, just to show I did it first. I'm not just telling you to do it. If I had not quit my job, I would have never even questioned the 40-hour work week. If I had not quit my job, I would have never known Saturday and Sunday, they're not special. Those days are not special. Saturday and Sunday, Friday nights, those are not special. Those are just days of the week. I found out I don't have to know what time it is every single second of the day. That's just a clock. Why did I need it? Because I didn't own the time of my life. That's why I was always looking at the clock. When I quit my job, I started feeling it started feeling weird because I never knew what day it was, what time it was. I was just like, oh man, I feel like a loser. I don't know what time, man, I'm going to bed anytime I want. I was like, no, that's how it's supposed to be. The clock is a tool, not a need. You don't need the clock. You just need it for appointments, or when you got appointments to meet somebody, you need the clock. If you gotta drive somewhere to it, that's the only man, I gotta get to this restaurant at 7. Okay, I need the clock for that. I got a consultation at 7:30. Okay, I need the calendar and the clock for that one. But outside of that, I don't care what day it is. I don't care what time it is. I don't care. This has nothing to, I get up when I want to get up, take care of myself. I would have never, ever experienced anything I'm telling you guys if I didn't do it. I had to go through. It was like it's almost like coming. You see people coming off of heroin because I've never done hard drugs like that before. So you watch shows, people coming off, and that's what it feels like. You got to get over. Oh man, if you hear like I remember like when I first quit, you could hear my body was still used to getting up at 6 or 7, getting ready, looking at the news, getting in the car, warm up the car. It's just the everyday routine. You don't really know that's a routine. You just think that's just the way it's supposed to be, and it's gonna be like that until you're dead, right? You just think that, right? But I remember when I would my body would naturally wake up at the time, but I didn't have to get up out of bed. But you could hear all the cars out, people starting up their cars, people talking, bye, honey, blah, 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 every single day, right? And you're looking at it, and at first I was feeling like, oh man, I feel like I'm lazy and blah, blah, blah. You go through these things, right? And then as time went on, I was like, man, this shit, this shit feels good. Then I would get up about 9, 10, take a walk, go to the gym. The gym's empty, the roads are empty. It's like, oh, man, I am liking this shit. I'm liking this. And then it would get around, noonish, kind of get crowded because everybody's coming out for lunch. And then everybody would get back about 1 or 2. I started to be able to time it. I said, okay, it's around 2ish. I better get off the roads because the traffic is about to start up. This was nice. And then I started thinking, how can I keep this life? How can I keep it? And the first thing I thought, hey, help others feel the same feeling. They will thank you for the rest of your life. Because once I realized, man, once you cross over, you can't. There's no going back. You don't. I couldn't just experience this and say, "Oh, okay, it was nice," and then go back to the 40-hour work week life at the job and traffic. No, sir. No, sir. No. Go to work, hear everybody talk about their same dead stories about divorce and bills and house buying and all this. No, no, no. Hear them talking about investing in the jobs 401k plans and how they're getting matches. You don't want to hear all that slave talk every day. No, sir. No, sir. You go to lunch, they talk about the same thing. You don't realize that when you're inside the debt matrix that you do that. And then after lunch, because I remember we used to get hour lunches, right? And I remember this feeling during the year I was debt free that once lunch was over, we had to go back to work. Now, how many times have you said to yourself, man, I sure wish I could just go home after I eat this lunch? I mean, I remember saying that to myself all the time. I can now, because I remember when I first quit, my ex coworkers they would say, "Hey, LJ, won't you come out to lunch with us? We're going out to lunch at 12 or 1 o'clock." I'd be like, "Cool, man." Then I would meet them at whatever restaurant, would sit down and eat and stuff like that. And then when the hour is up, they would have to get back and go to work. They'd be like, "LJ, where you going?" I said, "I'm going home." Man, I wish we could do that. I said, "You can. I could show you how." You think they heard me? They heard me? Nope. Went on back to work. I said, "Man, I can show you how to do it." They wasn't trying to hear me. Out of all the years of all the people that I've met at my job, I'm still only in contact with 2 of them. 2 out of all those people, all those years I worked with that you think you're close with, you're only there because you guys have to be there. Most of the people at jobs, they're not there because they wanna be there, they're there because they have to be there. And if you're there, if you're working with a bunch of people that have to be there, you guys are friends because you guys have to be there. That's your only connection. Slaves, debt. So when you come to work talking about buying houses and this and that, it's just you guys just all just digging yourselves in the holes deeper and deeper and deep. Don't even know it. Now you're really trapped because you don't. Once you get out of debt matrix, right? Imagine being the owner of a business and you see most of your employees get a job. They get this hired at this new job, and then about a month later they pull up with a brand new car. You know, as a boss, I'd be like, "Yep, I got that person's gonna be here for at least the next 7 years." They got car payments, and if they got car payments, they got rent or mortgage, and they got other credit. They always got the latest phones. You know, your employee is gonna be there. And now that most employers they ask for credit reports. See, now I remember again. I'm going back and forth so you guys can understand. I remember when first started. I first started hearing that employers were looking for credit. They wanted to check your credit report to have a job there. And for the life of me, I was thinking, why in the world would an employer want to see my credit report? I'm there to earn money. I'm not there to buy anything. Why do they want to look at? But I wasn't really worried about it because I said, oh, okay, cool. I got a good credit score, so I ain't really worried about it, right? It's the check to see how much debt you're in. If you're in deep debt, they're not going to put you in sensitive financial information areas. They're not going to put you there because you're susceptible to corruption. You're deep in debt. A lot of people don't really understand debt controls a lot of your life. And if you get in a tight bind and you're in a position that you can probably take information, steal money to save your house, or maybe your kid has to go somewhere, gets a, who knows, but you'll end up not saying that you will 100% do it, but why even take the chance of putting somebody there? Because can you imagine a company that hires people that are debt free? The company will know that that person, there's two things that will happen when they hire a debt free person. The debt free person walks in and tells the employer the salary that they're going to pay them to be there. You don't walk in a job and cross your fingers and, oh man, I hope they hire me. I hope they give me this type of pay. No, you walk in and say, this is my resume. If you're good at what you do, okay, you walk in, this is my resume, this is my salary requirements. The employer knows that that person is going to be there working for that company because they're choosing to be there, not because they have to be there. The employer will also know is when they hire this person for 40 hours, that's all they're getting is 40 hours. You're not going to be calling after hours. You're not going to be calling all times of the night, especially if you're in IT. None of that is allowed. If I'm not on call, you don't call me anytime you wish. That means you own the time of my life. That's not happening. I'm not going to be carrying a phone and a laptop everywhere I go. I'm off work. Why would I carry that? That makes absolutely no sense. You're not paying me for that. You think I knew that? I didn't know any of that. All that changes. And then then I started to realize I'm like, when I was there that year, I was like, man, I could be doing more. It's the weirdest thing. It's like I started thinking about when I would go to work, I would see the sun rise. I get to see it a little bit, and then I'm in a building. And then I get to see it as it's going down as I go home. In the same traffic that I came to work in, I'm in the same traffic as I left. Hold on. So I was like, I'm tired of that. I want to see the sun during the days and except at lunch times, or the worst, because I grew up in Seattle, Washington. So it's not that many. It rained a lot there. So I didn't have that many sunny days. It was horrible when it would be sunny during the week. And then come Saturday and Sunday, it would rain the whole weekend. It would just destroy it to me. And I got tired of that too. And I was like, it's time to quit. No direction, no promise of anything. You know how many people would never take that step? Quit a perfectly good six-figure earning job for absolutely no reason at all. Just because I didn't want to be there anymore. You know how many people will never, ever take a step like that? I had to do it because I felt trapped. It's the weirdest feeling. I felt trapped in the building. I had my own cubicle. I mean, at 4 monitors. I mean, it was a nice setup, but I was still in the building. And what's so funny, this is so crazy about it. If you work in an environment like that, as you go walk past those cubicles and look at people's screensavers and pictures on their wall. They're all places they would rather be than where they're at. So they start fixing up their cubicles in places they rather be. They don't know that they're doing that. Oh my God, my vacation's coming up. 2 weeks. I'm going into here. Oh man, you're so lucky. They all say the same thing. You're so lucky. Everybody's saying that because they don't want to be where they're at. Slaves don't know they're saying that. They don't know they're talking like that. But I could hear that crystal clear. I could see it crystal clear that last year I was debt free. I was like, not me. I'm out of here. Everybody was like, hey, LJ, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. You should have saw the look on their face. What do you mean you don't know? I said, I don't know. How you going to make it? I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. Zero. How many people you think will do that? None. SMD wouldn't be here if I didn't do it. I remember listening to all the motivational speakers. They say the same thing, man. You got to get out there and do it. You hear that. But in the back of your mind, you always think, oh man, they must have had some help. They got lucky, or all these excuses. That's just unconscious ego talking to you in your head. Oh man, that's even though you see some people doing it, you still think, oh man, that's not true. They got lucky. All they had to do was believe in myself. That's what I had to do. I just believe in me. People always ask, hey LJ, what do you invest in? You invest in the stock market? Nope, just me. You should hear how they respond when they hear me say that. It's like, what? You're not investing in it? Nope, just me. Like it's almost like it's not good enough or something. It's always something outside of myself has to be better than myself. It's absolutely bananas to even hear people talk like that. Oh man, what you like when I tell some of my friends, hey man, where you taking this? I said, I'm taking SMD worldwide. You should see the look on their face when I talk like that. Worldwide. Worldwide, huh? Yeah, worldwide. Yeah. The world, right? It's round, right? Yeah, everybody, people live here. Yeah, worldwide. You know why I don't take offense to that? It's their own limitations. They don't think they can do it. It's not that their like the limitation that people try to set upon you, it's really them. Because they can't set limitations on you. You're a separate human being. Your limitations are different from theirs. If you have any, I don't have any. I can do anything I want. Anybody can. They just got to make the choice. Choose to not follow unconscious ego. All you got to do is not follow it. And what's crazy is like, I can literally, in consultations, I can literally give people the blueprint of the personal finances, the road to get out. I can literally give them the path. Here you go. Here's the map. You just got to follow that. I'm not saying the map is going to be easy. I'm just saying I can give it to you, though. What's up, everybody? Now, today, I know I've been rambling on for about an hour, but today is about you guys, especially if you're new to the channel and you might got some questions for me, maybe about the life I just told you, how I could do something, or maybe just for yourself. It's totally up to you. This is what SMD is for. SMD will set you free. You no longer listen to slaves. Now remember, debt is the colorblind slave master. So it could be anybody, because all it sees is green. It could be your loved ones, your mama, daddy, sister, cousin. It don't matter. Debt don't care. They're just green to debt. Let me see. What's up, Sincere? I think I said hello, Monique. Saved over, yep, $400 in car insurance. Easy. Phantom income. L. Marshall, they thinking someone playing LJ for doing this. They're thinking someone playing LJ for doing this. Man, I'm late on messages. That's what the problem is. Trying to catch back up with the messages. 1 second here. How do you feel about division in the Black community? You got to give me elaborate on that a little bit more. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You don't need a degree to count money. No, you don't. You don't need money. You don't need a degree to use the calculator. Right, Stephen? The whole race and gender thing is usually brought up. It always is. You got to, like, when I hear about, long story short, when I hear about separation, you have to ignore that stuff. Color, women, men, like most channels, they talk about, oh, the women this, guys that, high value, that. You got to ignore all that stuff. That's just separation, just to keep you confused. All you have to do is concentrate on owning yourself. Put it this way. If you are a person that follows like relationship channels, high value person, this and that, that's because you all you got to do, you don't own yourself. Once you own yourself, it won't matter what those people say. You won't date an unconscious slave, especially if you do what it takes to own yourself. You won't date a person that doesn't own themselves, and especially if they don't even know they don't own themselves. This information will relieve you of 99% of your relationship problems. I promise you that. Especially a woman with this information. Okay, and the reason why, and like I said, didn't you just say don't separate? Well, it's different. I'm talking about in society standards, right? Because there's these rules that society set, which mean absolutely nothing. They don't mean anything. Nothing. You decide your own rules, not society. I have many slave friends. Yes, they are. I had to let go of one of mine recently because he was just getting too jealous over what I was doing. He wanted me, he's my friend. So he would call me and tell me about what he's, something that happened happy in his life, or he was excited about. And I was excited for him, regardless if I agreed with it or not. I'm happy for him. But when I would do it in return, he would be jealous. I was like, hey, man, I got my shirts off the ground, man. They're up for sale now. And I was excited to tell him about it. I don't really care if you don't agree with the statements on the shirts, but I thought you'd just be happy. He was jealous. I was like, okay, I got to cut that out, because once you start realizing you own yourself and you have a goal, you have to remove, and this is the best advice I can give you. You must remove all negativity. No negativity can come where you're going. Where I'm going, no negativity can come, even in myself. Even yesterday, when I told you guys about the cussing, I can't have that. I mean, cussing extensively, okay, the way I was doing the other day, dropping too many F-bombs and stuff like that. But That can't negativity in any form can't come, especially from other people. They're just going to hold you back. I'm watching them get stressed out. It's hard to watch. What's up, Mike? Raining woman, Lee Scott. Hello. Yes, the job has your mind. On Sunday afternoon. You're supposed to get Saturday and Sundays off, and then Sunday afternoon, your mind is at work. You might as well just because you're not physically at work. If your mind's there, you're at work, and you're not even getting paid for it. Oh man, I got to get ready for tomorrow. All that time that you're getting ready on Sunday afternoon, getting ready in the morning, they don't pay you to drive to work. So however long your drive is, an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever traffic, that you're not getting paid for that, but yet you have to do it. You have no choice. You have to, if you want to get to work on time, you have to do that. Time that you're not even getting paid for. I didn't see any of that when I was in the debt matrix. I thought traffic was just part of life. The next time you're going to work or coming home in traffic, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look to the left of you, look to the right of you, and look at everybody's face and see if it's just like yours. The majority of people that are in traffic, they don't realize why they're in traffic. They're in traffic in the very thing that's keeping them in traffic, car payments. That's why you're there in traffic. You're making car payments. That's why you're there. You think I knew that? I didn't know that. I didn't know I was in traffic because of myself. What's up, Jewel? My family listen to this. They say 2 + 2 can be whatever you want it to be. 2 plus. You see, now when you hear that, you got to just sit back. When you're outside the debt matrix, you got to be amazed by the designer of the economy. You got to be amazed. 2 + 2 can be what anything you want it to be, according to who? People in the debt matrix. It's amazing. It just blows you away. I swear it feels like this. It feels like the Twilight Zone, but it's real. Like when I do that magic trick with the money, I'm gonna say it differently. Just next time I'm saying, hey, you want to see something that looks like a magic trick, but it's real. That's what I'm gonna start saying. I'm gonna stop calling it magic because it's not magic. It's really not magic. It's not a magic trick. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna show you something that looks like magic, but it's actually real. They probably won't even understand what I'm saying, but it doesn't matter if they understand what I'm saying. It can be whatever you want it to be. That's crazy. That's called anxiety, LJ. That's a sign. Yep, stress. And see, people, I'm glad you said that. You know what's stress? Like every time you ask somebody in the debt matrix, hey, how are you? I'm stressed. They don't know you don't have to have stress is your friend. Stress is actually your friend. It's a direct pointer to something in your life. It says, hey, this doesn't need to be here. Can you remove this? That's what it is. People think, oh man, I need to get some medicine. I need to go see a doctor to take some pills to deal with my stress. No, what do you think the pills are going to do? The problem's still going to be in your life, whether you're on medicine or not. And stress is like, hey man, why are you telling me to shut up with this medicine? I'm pointing to something that needs to be removed from our life. That is true. Anything that where I'm at today in life, anything that remotely even kind of looks like it's stressful, I handle it. That's priority on my list. Number one priority, whatever's causing me anxiety, stress, whatever you want to call it, right? That's priority to be removed or resolved or whatever it needs to be done. I was at a slave a slave party the other day. They are so fancy. I know it. You can't. And now, if you're new to the channel, we're SMD people. SMD family are what called aliens. Okay. When we're out in public, we don't pull our masks down in public. Now, the shirts are going to be a giveaway. They're going to be a slight giveaway. The SMD shirts, right? But as far as going, if you want to, we know that if we want to even have remotely of some kind of friends in our life, we have to play along with the slaves. We have to. Oh, that's a nice car. Oh, I like the new car smell. Oh, you got a deal. Oh, I should go see who should I see at the car lot? Oh, he worked a great deal for me. He's your friend. All this stuff. You got to play along. Got to play along. They think it's someone playing LJ for doing this. Oh, I read that already. Yep, read that too. What's up, nicer, Steven? I know I'm catching up. I'm almost there, you guys. That is a position you put yourself in to be. Yeah, you put yourself there. What's up, Andre? Zeke. IRS referee and signed 15-year. I know, right? 15 years. Blowing the whistle. 15. LJ, is your sister debt free? She's debt free. She's about to soon. She's about to pay off her house. I think she got about 50,000 left. She's about to pay it off. She realizes that she should have took advantage of it more when I was there. And I was kind of telling her, like, hey, you should probably start paying off your house while I'm here. You could have more money to go towards the house, but she wasn't really kind of hearing it at that time. But she's on it now. She's almost paid off her house. What's up, NC worker? Oh my gosh, it's even worse because slaves stay talking about other people's money. Like, oh my God. I ain't gonna lie. When it comes to sports, man, and this is even when I was in the debt matrix, I used to say, why do people know so much about sports players' salaries more than their own salaries? And then they would argue over who should get what salary. Oh man, this guy deserves 50 million a year. 50 million a year to throw a football? You believe this one person deserves $50 million a year to throw a football? The first thing I said to myself, who's paying him? Forget the player. Forget how much this one player is making and the whole team is making, right? How much money is the person paying him is making? That's what I'm talking about. I never really, when you look at the players, you're like, okay, that's a lot of money. But the first thing I always thought, how much is the person paying him making? Oh yeah, you can't know that. You can know the salaries. You can know the player salaries, but you can't know the owner's salaries. That's not public information. Sure, when you go, I was never a big sports fan. I remember one time I went to a game or two, and then I would go to I would get hungry, go to the concession stand. I want to go get something. I'm thinking, you want what for a piece of pizza? You want how much for one beer? You want how much? Oh, hell no. No, I ain't paying that. No, I refuse. I absolutely refuse. I'm not paying that. Listen to LJ sometimes motivates me. Sometimes motivates you, huh? Thank you, Omanike. Appreciate it. That's what I'm here for. That's my purpose. Diet and financial freedom are practically the same. Sure is. What's up, Kim? Welcome. LJ, I meant, paying LJ. Okay, that's why I was like playing. Okay, paying LJ. My family think LJ is rich, and that's why he's speaking nonsense. And see, that's funny. I can't with them. I tried. Thank you for the food. You know, so crazy. Now you got to remember when they talk like that, you got to remember that's the same thing I used to think. Oh man, he's rich. He must have money. That's why he can just do what he's doing. That's exactly what I used to think. I used to think exactly. Have you guys noticed this when I go on panels too, right? They always try to find out my net worth. What do I say? None of your business. Nope, I'm not telling you. Oh man, you renting and you and you want to know our net worth. No, I don't want to know your net worth. I already know your net worth by the way you're talking. I don't need to know. You don't need to tell me anything. See, that's the thing with unconscious slaves. They don't know. I already know by the way they talk. That's the wonderful thing about this gift. The way they do finances, the very questions they ask tell me everything I need to know about them. But they don't know that I know. They don't know. And what it really is this. They don't know the things that they're saying make absolutely no mathematical sense. You can't buy a house with student loan debt. You're making car payments. You know why you're making car payments? Because you couldn't afford the car. That's why you're making car payments. They don't know that. Oh, he's rich. I'm rich now. That's why this is why scammers get away with what they get away with, because they know all they have to do is pretend to have money to people that don't have money. All they got to do is pretend, and then they scam them because the people believe that they have money because they see their car, they see their house, they see they're going on vacation. They believe the stuff. That's why scammers do what they do. You can't, once you get out of debt matrix, a financial scammer will never be able to scam you because scammers, whatever they say, cannot make financial sense. CNTS. That's what makes it a scam. You think scammers know that? They don't know that. I was just the other day, I was following this one dude. He's an ex-con and scammer that he used to do something. Now he's got a channel. Who is this dude? Shoot. I find it out later. Anyway, one of his videos popped up. For some reason, I like just to hear what they used to do with scams because they don't make any sense. Like when you get out of debt matrix and you hear a scammer talk about what he did, and I wrote to him, I said, "Hey, man," I said, and this is his past life. He's out of he's doing it now. He's doing the story. I'm not saying anything negative against this dude, right? But anyway, he's kind of telling the stories of what he used to do. So I wrote him. I said, when he was telling about one particular story, I said, all I would have to do is look at your personal credit report one time and I would have knew you were talking a scam. You know what he wrote back? Just a smiley face. I'm sure he never heard anybody in his comments respond to him like that, right? Yes, I did. She's on it now. She is definitely on it. What's up, Wayman? Kim says, I remember you said on Bernard Riley show that your net worth was $1. I did, yeah. $1. Ooh, they get so mad. They get so mad. Get so angry. Oh man, it's like, hey man, you got $50,000 in student loan debt. I got $1 in the bank account, and that's more. That's $49,999 more than you. That's all you need to know. They just get so mad. But as you can see, I really don't. I don't really care. I don't care what slaves think. It's all a choice. When I say stuff like that, I know they've never heard a person like me. I know that. I know, and it's kind of cool to when I see the traction, like when I come into the room or come in the step panel, come up on the panels, people in the comments, oh, slaves better, slave, slave, slave. You see it all in the comments, slave, slave. Hey, that means it's working. They're recognizing when S&D comes in the room. They're just recognizing it's not nothing to brag about. I'm not even bragging. I'm just saying what is. I knew this road that I was going to travel was going to be a hard one. I already knew it. Even harder than Dave Ramsey. Like Mr. Ramsey, if he didn't do the road he did to be successful at what his business 20 something 30 25 27 years ago, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him. I'm choosing a harder path than Mr. Ramsey because Mr. Ramsey adds religion into his stuff, and a lot of people believe in religion and they trust him doing whatever he needs to do to get him to trust. I'm not faulting him for that, but mine it's harder than that because I know math has nothing to do with religion. That's just something used so you can get more people to follow. It's business. It's nothing more than it's business. Has nothing to do with math. Nothing. Hey, LJ, do you think they'll bring debt prison back? What do you mean debt prison back? What do you mean by that? Not sure what you mean by that. What is debt prison? Well, you got to remember, the debt matrix is the biggest prison in the world. No bars or guards needed. You don't need no guards. You don't need everybody's there voluntarily. People in debt don't know that they don't know they're in financial debt prison. They don't know that. You can go up to a slave and say, hey, man, you're in financial prison, right? They be like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? I'm free. I just went to Mexico. Well, you got to come back, right? You can't just leave and stay. You got to come back to the plantation. You go on vacation, but you got to get back to the plantation, slave. What do you mean? 1 second. I got to blow my nose. 1 second. I remember when I first quit and quit my job, The first month, I was like, wow, a whole month off of no working. That was amazing to me to have just not work for a whole month. I was like, and then that turned into 3 months and 6 months and then a year. When I made it a year, I was like, holy moly, wow. 1 year of not having a traditional working job, right? I didn't do anything. Now, don't get me wrong. The first month or two, I was worried because that means there's a time gap on my resume, right? Because that's the first thing they're gonna ask. Hey, how come you haven't been working in a month or two? It's like, oh shoot, how am I come up with this? What excuses? It was. You go through these phases, and then after you get through it, it's like once it gets to 6 months, it's like, okay, man, we got to find something else. Got to find something else. I started worrying about all the years I put in to climb the corporate ladder. My resume looked a certain way. And now, like, check this out. Now, when I step out I was in IT, but when I step out of the debt matrix and then I look at job requirements now, I'm thinking to myself, if you need me to know that much information to work at your company, you're gonna have to double your salary for that. You have to double what you think. You think I have to know all this stuff for you to pay me this salary. You're gonna have to double, if not triple that salary if I really knew all this information. It's crazy, man. It's just, oh man. And you know what? I'm not faulting any business that that got a time for free, because put it this way, when you're in IT at the level I was at, you carry a phone and a laptop damn near everywhere you go. They paid me a certain salary, but they owned me 24 hours because they could call me anytime they wanted, and they did. I knew my stuff. I was in VMware. I was a virtualization engineer. VMware was the software. I created virtual servers, virtual desktops globally. Okay. And so whenever the environment went down or something happened, who they call? LJ, because I was the person. Had I known why I was getting called all the time, I would have walked in the next day and said, hey man, you guys got to double my salary. But you think I knew that? No, man, hey man, I was just happy to have a job. I don't want to get the managers mad. It's nothing personal. You think you can call me at all times of the night? Because it's so crazy how they set it up. This is how they set it up. Every few months, you have to be on an on-call rotation, right? And what that means is that you are the point person for about a week, 24 hours a day. Okay, that's just part of the job. I understood that. But that happened every 3 to 4 months, right? But what you don't realize is that if you are the key person on whatever system, a Linux system, VMware, Windows, whatever, right? If you're the key person and the person on call, when the person that's on call, the first thing he does is call the person that knows about the system. The on-call person, it's 100% impossible for one person to know all of these systems, routers, switches. There's no way one person can know that. So they call the person that does. So what does that mean? The key person is also on call. That makes absolutely no sense. What's the purpose of having on call? None, zero. I would have walked in and said, hey man, you thought you can call me anytime you wanted? No. I didn't say. You said you guys are going to pay me this salary for 40 hours a week or however it was set up, but you own 24 hours of my life and you're paying me for 40. You're getting a deal. No, sir. Sorry, I meant to say debtor's prison, as it was legal to lock people up for paying. Oh, I didn't even know that. So hey, it's better than that. They're locking them up without knowing they're locked up. That's even better. Physical lockup, they know they're physically restricted, but if they can get them mentally, that's even better. To have millions of slaves that don't even know they're slaves, that's even better. That's way better. She says, I think about the debt matrix as a psychological, it's the perfect prison. I get it, totally get it. Bankruptcy is the key part of the American system. As long as they exist, no debtor's prison. Exactly. This system is this system's amazing. Now, when you're on the correct side of it and you turn around and look at it, you're like, damn, that is badass. That commands respect. It commands respect. It's like you get people to believe they're homeowners with a 30-year mortgage. How long did it take you to get people to believe that? That is absolute. Now it's 40. It's actually longer than that because people, when the majority of people that finances houses, they refinance them several times when they're in there in the house. So they're not really 30 and 40. They're like 50, 60, 70-year mortgages if you really want to think about it. It counts on how many times the person refinanced their house. The 30-year mortgages is the one that got them in the house. You don't know how many times. Like I remember there was a friend, even I think it was my mom too. She refinanced this house and paid off the car. And I remember she used to always brag about her car being paid off. Oh yeah, I don't have no car payments. My car's paid off. Well, you refinance the house to pay off the car. It's not really paid off. I mean, it is physically, but you didn't do it. And my friends, there's a few of my friends did it. I was like, huh. Now this is when I was in the debt matrix thinking this. I'm like, wait a minute. That doesn't make some. It still didn't make sense to me, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Like you said, LJ, a job is the absolute last resort. It's the last resort. It's not the first. Now when I think about a job, that's the last resort. Oh snap! I thought the sun was going down, and here comes. I remember a few times. I was working so many hours, and I know this happened to a bunch of people. I remember going to sleep when I got off work or something, and the sun was going down, and I thought it was coming up. And I remember jumping up thinking I was late for work or something. Oh man, that was crazy. That was crazy. Seizure of assets in the States is different matter. Yeah. Andreas Thomas Friedman is U.S. is the only country that are form of bankruptcy. Oh, and people don't really understand that Chapter 7 is a good thing if you understand what the tool it is. If you wake up and you realize that you're a slave, but you really this is what's going to happen, right? If you wake up and you're deep in debt and you realize how deep in debt unconscious ego got you, bankruptcy Chapter 7 can save you. That's your start over for free. Oh, I messed up. Chapter 7 can free me, but it takes sacrifice. You got to lose you got to let go of everything. A lot of slaves, that's why they made up. I guarantee you, this is just my opinion. I guarantee you that's why they made up Chapter 13. Because slaves don't want to let go of the very things that got them there into bankruptcy in the first place. They still want to keep the stuff that got them there. So Chapter 13 allows slaves to keep the stuff that got them there. Like Chapter 7, you can only do it once every 7 or 8 years or something crazy like that. But Chapter 13, you can do it as many times as you want. Slaves don't even find that weird. Why can I do, wait a minute, I can do Chapter 13 as many times as I want, and I can keep my stuff. They say, you sure can. You sure can. You just got to go see this lawyer, file paperwork and all this other stuff. But if you don't follow the rules, you got to start all over. And slaves keep filing Chapter 13 over and over and over and over again. Because I remember this one dude I used to go to the gym with, man, he had filed Chapter 13. And I remember a time he was like, hey man, check it out, man. Yeah, my Chapter 13 came through, man. I'm looking at this new Jaguar. I'm like, what are you talking about? You looking at a new Jaguar? Oh man, they Chapter 13 combines everything. I only have to make this one small payment. Now I have more money now I can go get this newer car. I was like, damn, you ain't even learned your lesson. That's why they came up with Chapter 13. Because you're going to fall out, start all over again, pay more lawyers, pay more fees, and go over and over. Because it doesn't stop. Just because it's in Chapter 13, interest still accrues. And then when you fall out, it's all back on you again. Then you got to do it. Oh man, they just keep doing slaves so bad. I know bills are debt. They just would not. I'm like, hey man, rent is not debt. Rent is a service. Oh man, you are still a slave to your landlord. It's like, damn, slaves are just. Well, I'm just like, hey, but you know, the bank is your landlord because you're making payments. Oh no, man, that's not the same. I'm like, how in the world did the banks do that? That's why, you know what I do now? And because it's the same in damn near every city. You know what I do when I go to a new city? I like to drive to the downtown area of that city. And who usually has the biggest buildings in downtown? The banks. The banks usually have the biggest buildings. And then if you just Google central bank buildings, just Google, look out, don't the central bank buildings, don't they demand respect? Just look at that building. Their building, the central bank buildings tell you, we are in charge here. We are. We always are the best building on the most expensive real estate in the state, always. I'm a political atheist. You know what I think, Andre? When it comes to you politicians, this what I believe. I believe politicians are there so people have slaves have somebody to blame about their financial problems. Because if they didn't place people in positions for slaves to blame, they would be forced to look at themselves, and they can't have that. They can't have slaves looking in the mirror saying, "Wait a minute, it's my fault." Yeah, we can't have that. That cannot happen. So they need people to blame why this is not doing something, something's not going, why taxes this, why the city that. They need somebody to blame. It can't be them. So they put politicians there. They put politicians there. Oh man, if we get this guy in office, he's going to change everything for us. Is that what you think? Or you can change it for yourself right now. You don't have to wait for any politician to do anything. I was never into politics. And people that are deep into politics, they try to make you feel bad if you're not into politics. If you don't know the latest. I mean, now don't get me wrong, okay? When you start getting into property and you start getting bigger, oh, okay, you have to kind of know, okay, this politician is for this. It's for tax reasons. Nothing personal. Nothing personal. I don't care what did it when they coming in, what are the tax breaks are they talking about? What are they planning on doing? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm gonna pack up and leave. Kim says, how can people think they own a house when paying a mortgage when if the payments are missed, the bank can take the house through foreclosure? Oh yeah, it's real. But it has to be that way, Kim. If the slaves woke up, if all the slaves woke up and said, wait a minute, I'm not a homeowner, and they decided to leave, the housing market would crash. I don't even want that. I don't want that. Like the friend I recently let go as a friend. I remember one time we did a video call and he was out in his back area in his patio area. Well, he had redone his whole backyard. I mean, it's laid out. It was nice. And I said to myself, I said, this is what I said to myself. I said, not, and I asked him, I said, hey, man, you pay off those student loans yet? Oh, no, man, not yet. He used to get irritated when I used to ask him about that. So it told me that he refinanced his house to do that backyard because you didn't have the money to redo the whole backyard like that. Excuse me. If you have student loans, you don't have money to redo a backyard like that. I didn't say that to him. It's all an illusion. But I'm sure he did that to so I would recognize the backyard, in which I did. I was like, wow, that's nice. But in the back of my mind, I'm just saying, you just digging yourself deeper and deeper. And then in 2020, he bought a boat. I was like, yeah, he's gone. He's totally gone. Totally gone. One second. The banks have it down. They got it. But you got to remember, it took them, that's like generations of creation, right? That's generations. That's you better believe what I'm talking to you guys about. There are schools that teach this, and they don't accept student loan payments. These type of schools, you don't hey man, you guys accept financial aid here? No, you're at the wrong school. You're at the totally wrong school. Not here. That's true. The Fed buildings are here in Dallas look like it could survive a nuclear holocaust. You better. I'm talking about like the central banks. You get outside the debt matrix, you really start to understand why everything's in place. You can see it all. It's like, oh, okay, that's why that's there. That's why the whole convoluted it's always you got to remember, it's always about competition to keep you confused. Democrats, Republicans. It's like, I remember when I never did follow politics, right? But I used to always think to myself, what would make me a Democrat, Republican? First of all, if you grew up in a family that's whatever, that I guess you're just that by default. You just have to be that. It just makes, and then I said, okay, I guess you just got to read what they believe in and read what the other ones believe in, and I guess you just choose. No different than a football team. When somebody lives in California and they say they're a Dallas Cowboy fan, well, I guess you can choose. You could choose to be whatever team you love. Period. It doesn't matter as long as you spend the money. As long as you buy the Cowboy stuff and paint your car Cowboys and do all the free advertised for them, that's what they want you to do. But then at the same time, somebody could just wake up and say, "I'm not a Dallas Cowboy fan. Now I'm a Raider fan." It's just business, though. It's business. It is a distraction. To me, it's a distraction. I don't follow it. It's business, Andre. You're right. It's business. The illusion of fairness. Right on that. They need they have to have somebody to blame because we cannot have them looking in the mirror. I get it. You think billionaires care about if Joe is going to cancel student? Right. They're going to space. Jeff, do you know the majority of slaves think Jeff Bezos was faking? They think him going to space was a fake. Slaves will just, man, oh, I didn't see the parachute. I didn't see the helmets. You mean all the stuff you saw on TV? On TV shows? What they show you on TV shows? Since you didn't see that, Jeff was faking. Oh, so was Richard faking too? Richard didn't go, the person in charge of Virgin that owns Virgin. He didn't go to space either, right? Oh, okay. All right. You got student loan payments? Yeah, that's why you think they didn't go to space. You're making student loan payments. That's why. Yes, he is. You better believe he's doing as told. You better believe that. Believe that. And I get it. I'm not even saying, and me saying that, I'm not saying that's a bad thing because he's doing what he's told. Hey, that's just the way it is. Those type of decisions, that's generations and trillions of dollars above my pay grade. That has nothing to do with me. I won't even live that long to even know those kind of conversations. Hopefully one day my great grandchildren will, but I won't. He's much more compliant. Have you noticed them and Democrats and Republicans don't fight over wealth because it don't matter. It's just to keep the slaves busy, keep them fighting amongst themselves, and then it's just so crazy. It's just crazy, man. Sure they are. It is part of the debt matrix. It has to, and I get the structure. It's so convoluted. If you got to remember, if a slave doesn't know themselves, they will never understand how that truly works. They don't even own themselves. How you gonna understand the whole political system and how it's designed? You'll never know that. Yet there's a lot of so-called professionals out there that will claim that they do, but have student loans older than the children. Makes absolutely no sense. The banks have been at this since the Rome age. Yeah, believe that. This is family. This is generational. And I want you guys to understand something too. You know how they always try to put the wealthy against the poor. No, the wealthy say you can come over here. You just got to understand arithmetic. It's not a secret. You can't come over to the wealthy side and not trusting arithmetic. You cannot do that. It's crazy, man. But hey, man, I respect the system. It commands respect. It does. It commands it. 100% commands respect because the families I don't know. I'm just talking. Again, I probably will never know. Hopefully one day I'll somebody from the central bank will pull me under their wing and say, hey, let me show you something. I've been watching you for some years, and here, I'm gonna fill in some pieces for you. Okay, come here. Hopefully one day that happens. Hopefully one day they'll take me into one of the central banks in one of the states and walk me into one of the rooms that I would never have seen in my entire life. I bet I can only imagine the meeting rooms in one of those central banks. Probably something like you've never seen before in your life, ever. Only the people that understand will ever even get to walk in and just look, let alone sit down at a table. Only movies can depict what it may look like. I guarantee you cameras are not allowed in there. Guaranteed. Guaranteed they're not allowed in there. I guarantee you won't be able to sneak in a pinhole camera or a recorder and all that other stuff. Guaranteed that will never happen. Thank you, Jewel. You say they decide how the pie gets divided. You better believe that. Attention all new members to the channel. LJ has a wealth of community. I appreciate that, Zeke. Videos that will blow your mind. Please join. Thank you. Thank you. You guys know me, man. I will be doing this until I'm dead. And those of you that will be one day might try to get out on your own and do your thing. You're gonna have the advice I have to you, don't follow the crowd. Don't try to do what everybody else is doing because you see them, how many followers they have, how many views they have. It's a fad. If they're going on gossip and all this stuff, that's a fad. That's gonna fade away just like clothes. If you get on that train, now you got to stay. Now you got to keep up with all the latest gossip about other people's lives and all that stuff. That's just a fad. You know how hard the kind of work that is to keep up with gossip and other people's lives. People that slaves, they somehow think the lives of the rich is somehow different from their own. They're not different than you. They're still human. Like the latest one, in mostly in the black community with Dr. Dre and his wife, calling Dr. Dre, who's a billionaire, a simp. Oh, he got to pay $300,000 a month. That's $300 to Dr. Dre. They believe that since Dr. Dre have to pay that much, they think it's hurting him. It's not hurting him. They think it's a lot. It's more money than they will ever see. That's why they're blown away from it. They're like, "Oh my God, 300,000 a month to his ex. So what? That's nothing to Dr. Dre. He's a billionaire." That's $300 a month. That's probably even less than that. Because I think he got what, $1 billion for selling Beats headphones to Apple or some crazy amount of. That's nothing to Dr. Dre. It blows me away when I see slaves call billionaires names. That is mind blowing to me. And then they all jump on the same train. All of them talk about the same thing. When I first heard that, I was like, Dr. Dre, simp? You mean the billionaire Dr. Dre you talking about? The rapper. That one. Yeah, him. Oh, okay. All right. If that's what you think. You making car payments? Yeah. That's why you're talking about Dr. Dre, because you're making car payments. That's why you're talking about him. Are your student loans older than Dr. Dre's music? Yeah, that's why you're talking about Dr. Dre, because your student loans are older than his music. Same people who criticize Jeff Bezos are the same people that buy stuff that buy stuff on Amazon. Sure do. The first when I saw Jeff step down on Amazon, you know what the first thing I thought? What is he doing next? He must be doing something even bigger than Amazon. That's the first thing. Why would you quit Amazon for something bigger? You get to that point as Jeff Bezos, he's not even watching. He don't watch his money. It's not even about money anymore. People watch his money. You make him big. First of all, when you get out of debt, you don't even think about money the same way you used to. I don't think about money like that. So if I don't think about money, and I'm not a billionaire, and I don't think about money, money wouldn't even come to my brain if I was making billions of dollars. I wouldn't even think about it. Everybody that would be involved in my money would be debt free. I would just put the right people in the right places. Hey, you're debt free, right? Okay, you can handle this, you can handle that. I want people that think about money just the way I do. It's just worthless pieces of paper that slaves worship. That's what money is. And what's so crazy about this system, they don't hide anything. The American dream. Oh, hey, it's the American dream to get a house. Well, they just said dream. Said dream, you have to be asleep, right? Yeah. Well, they're telling you right there, you got to be dreaming if you think you're a homeowner with a 30-year mortgage. They're telling you. Oh man, I got hundreds of dollars. Well, you do know if you go to the website of the central bank, they tell you how much they print that paper for, right? 14 cents, right? So it's not $100, it's 14 cents. Oh man, what are you talking about? No, what are you talking about? I'm sending you the link. I remember when I first saw that, I sent it to a couple of my friends. Do you know both of them came back with excuses to why? Oh man, they got to do some processing, and then they what are you talking about? I just showed you how much they make money for. Oh man, they came up with slaves always come up with excuses. LJ, is Seattle a nice place and not visit? No, 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 definitely not in October. Nope, sure ain't. The only time when I go back to Seattle and visit, I'm only going in the summertime. Only. Because when I was first dating my woman, she lived in South Carolina, and I would come here, stay a month at a time. I would hate to have to go home because I knew once I stepped off that plane, I would have to put on my jeans, my jacket, because it was going to be cold. Oh, I used to hate it. Hated it. It's true the manosphere is becoming toxic. The other day, I eliminated all the channels that are just time wasting. I noticed that. I noticed that they were trying to integrate me into the manosphere. It's like, no, no. If you think I belong there, that's you. But I'm not claiming anything. I'm claiming SMD. That's what I'm claiming. They try to, sometimes I'll listen. Sometimes I'll go to some of these channels, and if it's just gossip, I can't really take that much of it, so I just leave. But usually the titles, right? If I subscribe to a channel and they popping up on lives and they're talking about gossip and stuff, I have to unsubscribe from that channel because I don't want to get alerts talking about who's getting a divorce, who's a simp, and who cares? Who cares? Even stuff like that. I know this is a trip, but even stuff like that, even all these channels that do that, those channels are important too because it keeps what it really is this. It keeps slaves from looking at themselves. If they're always looking at something outside of themselves, that means they're not looking at themselves, and they will remain unconscious slaves longer. All of that stuff is important. The same way with debt. They have to believe they're homeowners with 30-year mortgages. They have to believe that the only way to get a nice car, is to finance a car. They have to believe that. They have to believe that having a whole bunch of credit cards, a titanium credit card with a no limit or a high limit, that has to be like that. Slave tainment, exactly. Slave tainment, wealthy firefighter, slave tainment. I wish I could put these sayings on shirts, but you got to remember there's millions of slaves and only few of us. You can't put slave on a shirt. You just can't. You got to remember TV has programmed them to believe the slave that they see on TV, especially in the black community. They're going to think you're talking about that type of slavery. You can't have that. That cannot happen. That's what I do too. I just listen to famous thinkers. I listen to Alan Watts a lot. I do. I listen to a lot of Alan Watts. Oh no, I don't. You know me. I mean, I won't. I won't. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll go to the panels. Please don't get me wrong, because I love destroying slaves. I just love doing it. I just love doing it. I always get one or two people from. Believe it or not, I know they seem like SMD family be like, "Oh, LJ, why you even come to these channels?" Because there's one or two people that come from those channels. I promise you guys. There's always one or two people that say, "Hey, I've never heard this before." You might see hundreds of people coming in, but only maybe the max of 5 people. And out of the 5 people, 2 of the people will tell me that they come. 3 of the people won't. They just remain quiet. And I get it. I totally get it. I know it seems like the majority of people that probably follow SMD are quiet. They don't say anything. They just listen, come here, get what they need to get, change their lives, whatever. Those people are important too. But we got a lot of SMD family members that are vocal. That's cool too. But I bet you there's more non-vocal SMD family members. I bet it. I bet you that. That's like middle school drama. Serious? Distractions are important. Slave taming. That is funny. What's up, Cupcakes? Kim says, didn't you say on Bernard Riley show that they're about to start 40-year mortgages? Yeah, refinancing homes into 40-year mortgages. But you got to remember too, like I said before, those are just people that get 30-year mortgages refinance their house several times, starting the 30-year clock over. So mortgages have been 50, 60, 70-year mortgages have been around for a lot. They're not said officially. 1 second. They just don't, because you got to remember people talk about refinancing their house, taking on second that refinance a house. I'm not even talking about second mortgages. People take 2 mortgages on one house. Now they believe they're a homeowner with 30-year mortgages. They talk like having a second mortgage on a house is nothing. This is what a slave will say to you. Hey, I'm going to get a rental. How you going to get a rental? I'm going to take a second mortgage out on my house, and then they'll get a second mortgage, go get a rent, take out a second mortgage, use that money as a down payment on a third mortgage for the rental, and then put a renter in it and say they're making a profit. They have 3 mortgages. And they believe since they put a renter in the rental house, they're making a profit. You are so far from a profit. You have no idea they had no idea what they're saying. None, not even close. You think you could turn to a slave and say, hey, wait a minute, if you got 2 mortgages on your personal house and you got a mortgage on a rental, isn't that 3 mortgages? You have no idea how far you are from profit. You have no idea. You think you could tell a slave that? You can't tell a slave that. They'll get mad at you. You're going to lose your friends. You're going to lose family members. You cannot talk. You cannot pull. What do we say it here at SMD? We say you can't go out in public pulling down your mask. You're going to get yourself hurt. At least these shirts, the SMD shirts, they'll kind of give you, say, okay, you guys, I just want you to know I'm different from you. Right? There ain't nothing wrong with making sure you let slaves know that you're different from them, but you have to do it subtly. You can't just do it just like that, I am only subscribed to certain channels in the manosphere. See, I don't even really know what is considered the manosphere. I don't. I mean, I never even bothered to look. I don't even know because I know what I've seen so far. It has nothing to do with me. Nothing. When they start talking about women or certain type of women, a certain type of guy, and all this stuff, I'm like, everybody's different. What do you? How you gonna generalize everybody? You can't do that. What happens when you have 40-year mortgage and your home is destroyed by a tornado? Good questions. They're gonna jump all over you in the panel. You start asking questions like that, Amina. What are you talking about? What That's what insurance is for. Well, geez, Amina's so dumb. That's what insurance is gonna cover. They will be all over you like white on rice. Insurance pays the claim owners, the bank, exactly. That's why they require you to. That's why they require you to have insurance on their property. Hey, yeah, we can get you this house, but you got to have insurance to cover it because you obviously don't have no money. See, that's why they require them to get insurance because the bank knows the person getting the mortgage don't have any money. That's why they're here. If that house got destroyed, the bank already knows you don't have the money to cover it, so you have to get insurance. How do they know that? They know that as soon as they run your credit and they're begging for money to get in something that you can't afford. It's just so crazy, man. They just do it right in your face. And the banks are not bad and evil and bad guys. No, the banks trust mathematics. That's it. But the banks trust mathematics and they really trust simple arithmetic. Believe that. If you don't even trust simple arithmetic, they're going to financially abuse you. But the bank gets the money, has the mortgage holders has their life. And here the bank gets money and the people in the house, they're living the what? The American dream. They want to be like the rich. Well, here's your chance. You see all those new housing complexes that they clear an acre of land and put about 100 houses on it. All those people believe they're homeowners. They all believe that each one of those people believe they're homeowners. No, those are just separate apartments. No, homeowner association, dude. You got something you think you're an owner, but somebody can come along and tell you what you can't paint your house this, you got to cut your grass that doesn't sound like a homeowner to me. When I get mine, nobody's telling me what I can and cannot do to my property. I'll do whatever I want to my property. You don't cut your grass, put a lien on your house. So stupid. You're not. No. The mortgage holders get to live after the storm. Sure do. LJ, so what do you think about PPP loan fraud? What about it? Prison, what do we call it? Prison placement program? They're gonna turn that faucet up here too soon too. They just had to make a whole bunch of slaves from the PPP fraud. If you think about the bigger picture, think about the bigger picture when it comes to PPP fraud. Here's people that don't know nothing about money getting millions of dollars. That don't even make any sense. People that don't know anything about money, making up companies and making up people that work for them and getting millions of dollars. What's that tell you? That's on purpose. You think that same person that stole from millions of dollars from the PPP program, you think that same person can walk in the bank and fool the bank into $1 million loan? No. What people don't really understand, the PPP money, that's the bank's money. Guaranteed by who? The slaves. When the slaves steal PPP money, you know who they're stealing from? They're stealing from themselves because it's guaranteed by you, slaves. You. That's why the banks are willing to give up. They wouldn't give you the money if it wasn't going through the PPP, the administration or whatever, the government program. If it wasn't going through them, you guys wouldn't get the money. You guys wouldn't be stealing that money so easy. But once you guys steal it, it's guaranteed by you. They get the bank get their money and the government gets slaves, guaranteed slaves for the rest of your life. Because I guarantee you this: if you stole that PPP money and you got $1 million or hundreds of thousands of dollars, probably more money that you ever seen in your life, you'll never be able to pay it back. You're gonna be paying back that money plus more for the rest of your life. You are now owned. Like I said before, you might as well, when you do that, that's like a straight beeline to you. You might as well have walked in the bank with a gun, no mask, no gloves, put your hands on everywhere you touch, the door handle, the counter, with a 2-foot sign with your name and address and your social security number. I'm talking about this is a stick up. And then you shoot a few people while you're in there, while you stole some worthless pieces of paper. You might as well have done that. Look at the camera, waved at it. Hey, FBI, this is my card with your license plate. You might as well have just left all that. That's the same thing. When it comes to a flood, don't you have to have specific flood insurance that is not included? It's all kind of, it's insurance too. It's all kind of stuff in there, right? I wouldn't do. I'm just telling you guys right now. When I get a house, I'm doing it with a lawyer. I'm gonna do. It's gonna go through all that. I'm not gonna have any insurance companies trick me into. Oh, well, you're not covered here. You think I'm gonna read all that? I don't want to. I don't want to read all that. I'm gonna just hire somebody to say, hey, look at this stuff over and tell me where they're trying to trick me. What's not trick me, but what's not covered. I'm gonna put that on the shirt. Prison PPP fraud, prison placement program. I'm gonna put that on the shirt. See, says somebody at my job was asking me to get an LLC so he could help me get it, but I was like, nah. But when he said white people do it all the time, see what I'm saying? When they start adding color and stuff in there, you got to just like you got to say, hey man, you making car payments? I'm not listening to anybody tell me to get an LLC who's making car payments. You got student loans? Yeah, I'm not listening to you. I'm not listening to any financial business advice from you. Why? You don't own yourself. That's why. I'm not listening to anybody about business that don't own the business of themselves first. When you got the majority of slaves talking about getting LLC, that means there's some other information that you're missing. Too many of those guys are talking about LLC. They just talking. These young girls in Alabama, father was killed over 500,000 man by one of the. That's crazy. Over stolen money. That money's stolen. Killing each other over worthless pieces of green paper. That's a different problem. If you're willing to take somebody's life over worthless pieces of paper, that's a different problem. I've never in my life thought about killing somebody. That has never been a thought in my brain. I've gotten mad at some people, but never I said, man, I'm mad. I'm so mad I'm going to kill them. I never said that has never crossed my brain. Because I always think like this, even as a young, you hear that, I'm like, if I do that, then isn't I am what am I saying? I'm pretty much trading my life for theirs. And you hear that all the time. People killing other people for insurance money. It's like, wow. Second hand. Yep. It's a whole different world, man. NASA senior executive committed COVID-19 fraud due to pay. You know what's so crazy? And you'll hear sports players, couple of rappers. That should tell you something. That what they're showing you is a fraud. You're making all this money and you're still committing fraud? It has nothing to do with how much a person makes. Nothing. The funny thing, LJ, is this guy has a Maserati, and I know for a fact he is making payments. Mm. When you know a person's making payments on a nice car, you don't even look at the car the same anymore. You just go, oh, you think the bank cares about that Maserati? The bank don't care about depreciating objects. Slaves don't know when they finance car, they're financing taxes too. They don't know that. Paying on something, paying interest on something going down in value at the exact same time. Paying interest and going down in value at the exact same time. They think the car goes they think the value of a car goes down the same for everybody. The value of a car is different for everyone who finances it. A car doesn't depreciate the same. Like a person that buys a car in cash doesn't depreciate the same as a person financing a car. That's totally different. The car, like a person pays cash, the car goes down in value naturally. You get in the car, drive it, add miles, it goes down. But a person financing a car, it goes down in value the same way as the person paid cash, but they're paying interest at the exact same time. And then since the arrow is going down and the arrow is going up at the same time, right in the middle, it creates a gap. That's when they sell slaves gap insurance to fill that gap between the two arrows. They just be coming up with stuff. Slaves just like, and oh man, and a slave will tell you in a minute that they got gap insurance. They don't even know only slaves buy gap insurance. Soon as a person mentions gap insurance, you automatically know their car is financed right away, right off the bat. You already know. You got gap insurance? Yeah, you financed your car. You're obviously upside down in your car. How do you know that? You got gap insurance, slave. Some people would kill for $200. I know. And just think, Gabriel, $100 takes 14 cents to make. That's 28 cents. You think a slave knows that they killed a person for 28 cents? Oh man, that MFer didn't. He owed me $200, so I killed him. Hey, by the way, you tap him on the shoulder. Hey, check this out. Let me show you this. That really wasn't $200. That was 28 cents. You're in life in prison. Can you imagine waking up? Say like you a person that did kill somebody. Let's say for $1,000, they killed somebody. Now they're life in prison, and then they realize that they find out that $100 made for 14 cents. So you killed somebody for $1.40. You're in prison for the rest of your life for $1.40. Mm. The banks own something more valuable. You, exactly, the person. The banks already know currency in any form doesn't exist for slaves. Banks know that. Slaves like gold because it's shiny. It doesn't mean anything. They like it because it's shiny. Same with diamonds, silver. It's nothing. They don't know that. Now they just add stuff, cryptocurrency. They probably sit in the boardroom. Whatever. Slaves believe anything. Just say some Chinese guy came up with it and he came encrypted and this and that. They will believe anything and they just do it. Make sure they think that we hate the cryptocurrency and it's going to take over the dollar and make it devalue, whatever to make them believe it. And then slaves just believe it. Start coming up with the stock market. All that stuff the stock market doesn't even exist. The car the car can't pay the note, but the driver can. Exactly. Sure can. They are the stock market, Amina. You're right. Slaves of the stock market. They're financing companies to grow. It ain't that crazy? They don't have money. They are helping companies grow with the money. They're giving them to money to grow. It's crazy that only 1% of Americans who have student loans are actually paying them off. Wow. That's just business. Just business. Just business. Sure are the people. You think I knew that all I had to do was look at a person's personal credit report to tell about their whole entire life? I didn't know that. So LJ, the guy that wanted me to get me some PPP money help somebody else at my job get it. So they are both going to go to jail if caught. I mean, everybody can't go to jail, but I'm saying they go get in some trouble. Okay, they can't put everybody in jail, right? They need some slaves out here working for. They got to pay that money back. They're really no good if they're all in jail. So they're going to all get in trouble. And they got all the time. It's fraud. There's no statute of limitation. So they can get them when they get around to them. You hear the slaves all the time. They say, "Hey man, I'm gonna get that PPP money and I'm invested in something and I'll just pay it back." No, slave, you can't. You committed fraud when you press enter on your keyboard submitting the application. They don't want that. They don't want that worthless piece of paper. They want you, slave. They want you. Can you imagine how many slaves they got for like $1,000 of PPP money? They got a lifelong slave for $1,000. 10,000, the more the merrier. The deeper you are, the longer. Like a person that stole $1,000 PPP money, at least they can see some light at the end of the tunnel. They're stamped as a federal crime. Don't get me wrong, they're still stamped, but at least they can make enough money to pay it back. But if you got somebody still in millions, you're never paying that back. Hundreds of thousands, 50,000, 20, hell, even 20,000. They're never paying that money back. Here's another thing. Here's another way to look at it. If you are willing to risk the time of your life for worthless pieces of paper, that's the problem right there. I was hearing all these people and seeing all these people on the social media talking about all the money because they love to brag about how much they got a person and they post it. It's all public knowledge, right? Never once did it come across my mind to say, "Hey man, I'm gonna get in on that." That never came across my brain. Never even thought about it. Are you insane? No, I'm not going to prison for paper. Complete control over your life for something that doesn't exist. Oh man, I couldn't imagine being owned like that. I just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it, man. I get it though. I get it. Like Andre was saying, they need at least 100 year a generation's worth of slaves created right now. And the pedal is to the metal right now. They're creating slaves by the hundreds of thousands. All voluntarily though. All volunteer. All volunteer. I respect it though. I totally respect it, man. It's amazing to sit back. I got a I think I'm in the nosebleed seats. I think Andre has floor seats. I've been yelling at Andre. He can hear me, but when he turns around, I'm sure he can't see me because I'm way in the back. He can hear my voice. Hey, Andre, Andre. And then after a while, he's probably gonna stop turning around. But I'm getting down there. I'm getting closer, man. I'm gonna get from the 300 to the 200. Then I'm gonna have the floor seats too. I'm gonna get down there. My car will be paid off next month. Congratulations, Kim. Congratulations. For real. I'm, hey, 100. Congratulations. That's why I'm busting my ass to pay off debt. Hey, and you know what's so crazy? I remember one time I was on the panel and somebody had said, mentioned my truck. Cause you know, you guys, I show you my truck, my 95 Yukon, right? Oh, he think he's talking all this stuff because he got a 26-year-old truck. That's like, what does my truck got to do with it? Stop going to stuff. You'll notice how slaves always try to go to stuff. They always try to go to stuff and go to real estate, and you go, hey, slave, stop talking about business. Okay. You're talking about, no, I'm not. If you're talking about getting a place and putting a renter in it, that's called business. No, it's not that. It's yes, it is, slave. Yes, it is. Oh, it's very gangster. Very gangster. But anybody can join this gang. All you got to do is trust arithmetic. That's it. You trust arithmetic? Yeah, you're in. Come on, you're in. You trust your calculator? Yeah, you're in. Oh, yeah, this is the new economy, though. It's the brand new economy. And I'm glad and I feel grateful that I get to watch. Like 2008, I was in it, panicking, scared. I'm going to lose everything. Got the tap on the shoulder to lose my IT job, all that. But this time, I get to watch. You know, I mean, and when I say watch, I get to watch the slaves do what they do, and I get to watch the wealthy people get even become creating generations of wealth. It's still nice to. It's not me yet, but it will be. I still like to watch them get wealthy. Hey, man, congratulations! Congratulations. When you get on this side, you don't hate wealthy people and watching them gain wealth. You don't hate them. It's like congratulations, man. You just some were born into it. Congratulations. I'm glad you had a family that teach you this from day one. And this is just your natural life. The banks are the people in the Godfather. Right? I remember in Amina still had them student loans. I remember your voice was kind of down. You were like, yeah, I still got my student loans. And then all of a sudden Amina just vanished. Poof. And came back free. Came back free. She was like, okay. I don't know what you did. You probably just dug down. It's like, okay, I got to get rid of this. I got to stop talking. It's time to take care of this right now. She left the scene for like a month or two. It's probably longer than that. Then came on back. Man, and every time I hear somebody say they paid off their car, credit cards, house, I'm happy for them, man. I'm just totally happy for them. And like I was saying yesterday, if I can get kids to listen to SMD, by the time they're 18, they know at 18 they're free. All they got to do is they're free as kids because your parents are taking care of you. But I'm talking about when you turn 18, they understand that right there, they're a legal adult and they are free. It's totally up to them to stay that way. You're right there. You're free at that moment at 18. You have no credit. You don't have no debt. You're out in the world and you can stay that way. That doesn't even have to change. Yeah, I know. When you came back and said you were free, Amina, I was like, okay, she was on it. And what did who was that? Who was that? Was that no, that was Antoine. Antoine said he when he paid off his student loans, he has his payoff letter right next to. That's the guy I went uh to lunch with, the picture with. He has his payoff letter next to his college degree. He said when people walk in there and say, "Hey, what's that?" That's a student loan payoff letter. You've never seen one of those, have you? LJ, I remember the S&B family member went back to the Matrix for car. Yeah, I remember that. Honestly, what that tells me is when I heard that, and I could be wrong. When I hear something like that, I'd say to myself, that means he never left. Because there's nothing that will make me go into car payments. I don't care what the car looks like. I don't care. I would never walk on a car lot and say I want to make payments. Then start going into the reasons why. I'm like, okay, now you're slave splaining. Yeah, okay. I'm 21. My first car is a stick shift. Wow, my first car was a stick shift, but I chose it though. But it's paid off for with no payments, handed down by my dad. I'm blessed. Yes, you are. I remember my first car was a stick though, but I wanted a stick because I thought it was cool, when I was younger. But after you start getting older, you're like, and you start getting in traffic, you're like, yeah, I don't want no stick shift. But it was nice. It's nice to have learned the stick shift because once you learn stick shift, you never forget. Stick shift is like riding a bike. Every stick shift might be a little different. Do they still make stick shift cars? Is that still even an option in the car anymore? Stick shifts? I'll drive my stick shift before I be in some type of personal day. Yeah. I had a Toyota Celica that was a stick and a Honda Accord. So and there's a lot of hills in Seattle. It used to terrify me. Oh man, what if I get stuck on a hill and a stick shift? But once you get used to it, it ain't no big deal. You roll back a little bit, but once you get used to your stick shift in your car, it's not really a big deal. But stick shifts burn out if you don't know how to if you don't know how to do it right, they burn out. But once you get used to it, mine rarely. I maybe when I was first learning in my Honda and I burned it up, but once I started getting used to it, I never really burned up stick shifts anymore. So yeah, 21 too. Congratulations, man, to have this knowledge. And I feel just I feel honored to even give a 21-year-old this information because at 21 with this type of information, you'll never know what it's like to be stressed over money. That'll never that'll never be your problem, right? You'll never have bill collectors after you. You'll never be talking like a slave, getting in debt and thinking you just that will never be your problem. But unfortunately, especially at 21, your life is going to be different because you're in that generation to where you guys are just that life is just starting. They're training 21-year-olds how to be in the debt matrix, and your friends are going to be different. You're going to have to be very quiet if you want to have a lot of friends at 21. You just got when they start talking about money, you just got to be quiet. You can't tell them, "Hey, yeah, you shouldn't do that," or "You shouldn't have all those credit cards," or "You shouldn't have car payments." You just got to say, "Hey, I like your new car. Oh, you got the titanium Amex card, whatever." You just got to with the high limit, whatever. You just got to go along with it. 4 of 6. Oh, okay. Like I said, I enjoyed learning to stick. It was fun, man. For some reason, when you're a kid and you have a stick shift, you think your car is faster. I thought my little 1980 Toyota Celica with the standard 20R engine in it. I thought since it was a stick and had rims on it, I thought it was. No, Linnell, it's still a Celica. Okay, it's still a Celica. I learned how to drive a stick back in the military, a military Jeep. Once I got a car with a stick, it was really easy. Yeah. Like I said, once you learn a stick, it's easy. You never forget. I can still drive a stick today, and I haven't drove a stick in years. And I would never purposely buy a stick shift car, but if I had to drive one, I still could. It's a wonderful feeling. I mean, changing lives, man. It's a wonderful feeling. I meet you guys. I would have never met any of you guys had I not started this channel. We wouldn't even know each other uh, if it wasn't for the internet. It's just amazing. What's up, friend Shell? Why do slaves say I'd rather use the bank's than my money. That you know why they say that, and they don't know why they say that, but they don't understand that they have no choice. They have to use the bank's money because they have no money. Oh, it's better to use other people's money. I know you say that, slaves. You guys are running the program. I get it. I totally get it. Totally get it. You are running the program, slave. You have no choice but to use other people's money. But what they don't understand is that by doing that, you know what the banks do? They buy other people's time. So they don't have to use, so they can use less of their own. Slaves don't know money's not the most valuable thing, is time is the most valuable thing. So by them using the wealthy's money, the wealthy don't have to use their time. Because now the slaves have to pay back that money by what? Working, putting in that overtime. I still remember the first time I checked your oh, do you? Hey, Gabriel, how'd you even come across my channel? How'd that even happen? I mean, those would be interesting stories, to say, how'd you guys come across the S? Because this channel is something that slaves, they don't know to look for the SMD channel, right? Not according to the name, but they don't know what to type in. So that's why this is why I use keywords that the slaves don't talk about. They don't talk about chapter 7, chapter 13, bill collectors, late student loan payments. Those are all the keywords, the hashtags I put it in the background, the ones that the slaves don't talk about out loud in public to each other. Refinancing the house, should I file bankruptcy or not? They don't really talk about that because they think bankruptcy is a bad thing. Ramil oh, okay, yeah. And tomorrow, Ramil said tomorrow at 10 a.m. So tomorrow, 10 a.m., I'll be on the Ramil show. I don't know what the topic's going to be, but it's going to be money related. He said tomorrow because he's like, Money Mondays, people like to listen things on Money Monday. So tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And what's so crazy? A lot of people always request, hey man, when are you or Ramil go do another show again? They just really enjoy. I like doing Ramil. I like doing Bernard Riley show. That's a good show. I try to repost like old videos, the collabs, so people kind of, the new people that don't know that I've done collabs on. And if you're new to the channel, check the playlist of this channel that you can see all the collabs I've done with multiple people. And when I went in there the other day, I didn't realize how many collabs I've done so far. That's crazy. I didn't really realize I've done that many so far. And the one dude that does shoes, I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't chatted with him in a minute, but I got to go over and check out his channel, see if he's still doing his shoes, selling the shoes and stuff. Red says, "How are you going to warm up to Ramil? Watch the playbacks of fantastic and bring it." No, me and Ramil, we've been cool ever since day one. Ramil is Ramil, right? He doesn't. One thing I like about him, he don't try to pretend to be somebody that he's not. And him and I, we do vibe well, right? He's just, he's 30 years old, and I'm 50 years old. It's just a general, but it's still, we have the same thing, and that's mathematics, arithmetic. Ramil has a paid off house. Ramil has a paid off house. I know I'm going on mute now. They love to come up and yell and try to get me to react, and they don't really understand that I don't care about the opinions of slaves. They don't really understand that. That's why I don't get upset. Check the playlist. If you check the playlist, Steven, it's the light-skinned dude. I forgot it. I'm mad about names. And him and I did a couple of them in there. And shit, what is his name? Crap. I'll go look at the name. It's on the playlist, all right? But it's the light-skinned young man. but he sells shoes, and he's got a few channels. He's got a few channels on Instagram too. Let me look real quick here. Now that I'm trying to think of his name, I can't. Well, his channel name. What is it? A Sneaker Life. A Sneaker Life is his channel. Here, let me post his channel in here. 1 second here. I know, string artist. Okay, he's oh wow, he's got over 500,000 subscribers now. Wow, that's impressive. I got to reach out to him. I got his number. I'm gonna reach out to him. He's still doing his thing. He's still doing his thing. Still doing his thing. Proud of him. Yeah. All right, let me post. I'm gonna post his channel in here. It's a Sneaker Life. There's his channel. You know what? I don't even want that. I just Big Truck and I'm not here to talk about people, but Big Truck and Mr. Fantastic are tight. So that should tell you enough right there that we're not on the same page. And it's not a big deal. I don't really care what they believe in and what they say. It doesn't matter. We just disagree, you know. But I know what you're talking about, Hyphy. He's just, whoa, man. Yep. I have an uncle who filed Chapter 13. Is for people who really want to keep their stuff. Sure is. Slaves that don't want to, they're making money off the slaves that don't want to let go of the stuff that got them there in the bankruptcy in the first place. The stuff that got them to file Chapter 13. And this is what it really is, so you guys can understand. And this is my personal belief. They created Chapter 13 so the slaves could keep up the illusion, because you got to understand, when they file Chapter 13, they get to keep their stuff. So the outside illusion to the other slaves, it don't look like they lost anything, which they really did. But to the outside, it doesn't look like they lost anything. They still get to keep their car. They still get to keep their house, because they still want them to make payments on it. They just get less money. But the 9 times out of 10, if they can't keep up with regular payments, they're not going to keep up with the Chapter 13 payments. So they're going to get kicked out, and they're going to owe more than what they went in. And then they're going to file Chapter 13 again, and over and over and over. Mr. Dramatic. I like that. I like that. That is funny right there. Nope, no babysitting. What's up, Layman? Little Big Slave. I know you guys, they were coming up with so many slave names. I was dying with all these names. Little Big Slave. Somebody called Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Slave-tastic. I was like, you guys are funny, man. You guys are coming up with some good names, man. And Amina, I'm gonna make that Generation S shirt. I'm gonna make that, because they come up with all these generation this, generation that. Like arithmetic cares about what generation you're in. I'm just coming up with Generation S. Now I'm gonna leave that up to you guys to tell what the S means. Okay, I'm not gonna put slave on a shirt, but if you choose to tell people what the S is, that's totally up to you. Generation S. Yeah, please do that. Join this Discord server where we come up there. Other SMB family members go in there, and I wish more of you guys get on there and join, man. You guys get this free information. You guys don't just have to hear me talk for a couple hours. You can hear other SMB family members that have knowledge in other areas with a debt-free perspective, man. You guys should really join the server. Really join it. These guys take their time to come in there and answer questions. Cosmic, Andre, other SMD family members, they come in there. I come in there and listen too. I be hearing stuff that I don't know about. Deep stuff. Generation S. LJ went from office job to doing what he wants. Exactly. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved computers, right? And one thing I love about understanding networking, it's pretty much the same thing as our system. If you can understand protocols and the way everything works, if you can understand how a network works, it's pretty much the same thing, just different. It's just got a different protocol. The language of zero is the protocol. You got to understand the language of zero. Because I remember when I first got into, I remember this is how I got into computers. This is exactly how I did. I remember one time I had to been about 25 or 24 or something like that. When Windows 95 came out, this is what happened, okay? When Windows 95 came out, Bill Gates, and Microsoft's in Seattle. So Bill Gates, this was a big deal. He brought in the rock band, the Rolling Stones. I mean, they made it a big deal. And if you're not in computers, you don't really know what the big deal is. I was like, what is the big deal that he brought in a rock band? He's paying these guys all this money to introduce Windows 95. So I said, you know what? I said to myself, okay. And then I used to watch computer commercials, right? And then they would talk about gigabytes and hard drives, master slave. And I didn't know any of that. I said, man, that's a whole different language. I don't know what any of that means. I said, I'm gonna go to school for that because I think computers are not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So I went to school. And once I got started school and started understanding, because I started on Windows 95. So once I started understanding operating systems and saw where computers came from, Windows 3.11, 3.1, I would say, oh, that's why it's a big deal, because it came from Windows 3.11 to Windows 95 to the GUI interface. I was like, that's why it's a big deal. That's the big deal. Got it. And then once I started learning, I started understanding networking and routers and protocols and switches and fiber channels and all this other stuff. And then as I'm getting in that, as I'm going along, then all of a sudden virtualization came out. I said, wait a minute, a hard drive is a file now? Wait a minute, a hard drive is not physical. You can make a server, a virtual server, and it's not even physical, but it'll act like a server. I was like, okay, I got to know that. Then I got into that and it just went on from there. And then I just took off and I loved it. And then, but once I got debt free, I was like, oh man, this is bigger than that. This is way bigger than that. Then voila, here I am. Here I am. Bill Gates once said that Bitcoin is a scam. Guess nobody heard him. It's not even. I wouldn't even call Bitcoin a scam. That's like gambling for the wealthy, but you know all the odds. Can you imagine? You go to gamble, but you know the winning numbers. That's how it is. LJ had e-machines, computer, and net zero dial-up. I did. I did. E-machines. I did. It had dial-up. I remember when I first got on the internet, and I figured out how you could download God, who was that? It was an area you could download music. It was big back then, but we had dial-up, right? But when you had dial-up, man, nobody could pick up the phone. So it would take all night to download one song, right? And so I would set it to where I would tag a couple songs and do it late at night because nobody could be on the phone, right? That's when nobody was on the phone late at night. But then in the middle of the night, somebody would pick up the damn phone and cut the connection. I would lose it. And it would take oh man. But hopefully if you pick it up fast enough and you hear all that, that sound, you can hang up and it wouldn't break the signal. But if they just picked it up and left it off, that was it. Meanwhile, I was putting together my PC from parts bought from computer shop. I used to love putting computers together. Oh, I had the 56K robotics, man. You guys don't really get this, but you went from a 28.8 to a 56K. Oh, you were screaming right there. You were screaming. US Robotics. Sure did. They would walk in the house, come to my house. Oh man, you got that new 56K of yours? Like, yeah, I don't got no slow ass. I don't got the slow 28.8. Nope, the show don't. That's last year's, baby. You're way behind. Oh yeah, Kaza. That's right, Kaza. That's what it was. Kaza. And it was the one before that too, Hyphy. There was another one, but they got sued or they got shut down. Oh, it was another one. Anyway, they were big back then. They were big. But when I first learned how to load, I had to learn DOS and how to load the operating system. When I first loaded my first Windows 95 OS, I was like, oh, Napster. That's what it was. It was Napster. That's right. It was Napster. When I first loaded my first OS, oh man, I thought I was the shit. I was like, I did that. And I put together my first computer because, like, when you don't know about computers, right? And you crack open a computer, you're like, oh my God, look at all those wires and stuff like that. Well, you don't know, you don't make the board that's in the bottom of it. You're not putting together the board. The board is just like that. You're just plugging in hard drives and pieces and stuff like that. That's back then, right? And you had to understand slave and master, and you had to know where to put the I forgot what that thing is what's the thing that you switch the prongs on it, the little piece you move to make it a slave and a master. It counts on where you placed it on the back of the drive to make it a slave or a master, right? And then you had to put it in a certain place on the cord that designated as a slave or a master, right? But it would, for those you guys understand, a C, a D drive, a F drive. Well, they skipped E. A, B, it was A. No, they skipped B. So it was A, C, D, E, F, and I don't know why they skipped B. I never understood that, but it went from A to C. But then once I got into virtualization, where I could make servers, cluster servers, all virtual. I mean, it's hardware at a certain point, but you can create multiple servers within a physical server. Man, it was just amazing. I used to love it, but well, yeah, SATA drives. When I left, it was starting to get into more cloud. It was more getting cloud based, and I was like, okay, that's enough. I don't want to keep up with all that stuff. I'm out. See ya. B was the second floppy, huh? Okay. Oh, was that the old big disc floppy? Was that the huge one? Was B the big one back then? Because I came in with the 3.5 floppies. I didn't come in with the big ass floppies. I didn't come in with those. I was just after that. I'm proud of what I learned, man. It was fun. It learning those computer skills have helped me in my business today. You know, sometimes it's nice to, like, when I get on the phone with like tech support that wants to help me with say like I'm having a problem with my modem at home or something, right? And I get on the phone with tech support. It's nice to be able to talk to them and say, hey, by the way, you can talk normal, okay? I understand. And then they're like, oh, okay, all right, check this, do that, check the DNS, blah, blah, blah. Then you can go much, much faster, because when you it's no different than the language of zero. When you're talking computers in front of people that don't understand computers, they have no idea what you're talking about. None, zero, none. Look at Andre going way back, 3.5. Also had a Tandy 1008. Man, you going way back. I bet you Andre had a Commodore 64 too. You had a Commodore 64, Andre? LJ, on the panels you are sometimes on, why do those dudes get so mad, and are you so calm? Those panels, because they're mad at math, Frenchell. They're not mad at me. They're mad at math. So I look past why they're not mad at me. They're mad at me because I'm saying what math is saying. They just don't like what I'm saying. That's all. They're not mad at me. That's why I stay calm, because they're not mad at me. They're mad at math. Yeah, every time I say, okay, pull up the calculator. Oh, here we go with the calculator again. Yeah, we're going to go to the calculator every single time. What are you talking about, slave? Oh, yeah, that's way back. I don't even know what that, Amiga? Oh, yeah, that's before, yeah. I remember when I was young, man, and this one dude, we had a nerdy dude that lived in the same area, and he got a Commodore 64. He was so sprung over it. He's like, man, I got me a Commodore 64. And I was like, what's the big deal about that? What do you do? Man, I made a game ping pong on it. I was like, okay, what's so big? But I was an outside kid, though. See, when I was a kid, I was always outside, riding bikes, doing jumps, doing crazy. I was just never in the house, so I was always gone. What's up, Eric? All right, you guys, we're gonna wrap this up. I don't know how we got I don't know. I got on 25-year-old technology, but those were good times. I love being an I was more called an undercover nerd. I was still cool, but I was still a nerd, man. I loved to hang around the nerds, know what they know, computer stuff. I was like, man, that's cool, man. Now you guys know this. Right. That's funny. Yeah. That's funny, Avita. You're right. And they are emotional. Mr. Slave Tastic, he'd be all up in his feelings. Boy, he'd be like, okay, I'm out. Groups of men having women problems, hence the name manosphere. They need a place to vent and people to take out their frustrations on. Exactly. I remember, so crazy. When I think about the manosphere, I used to think about, it makes me think about this radio host called Tom Likas. All right. And I used to listen to him because that's where my mind was back then. I used to listen to him on the drive to at home after work. I'd be like, yeah, usually. But now when I listen to him today, it's just a bunch of angry men upset about the relationships and they congregate. I can't even listen to him today. And he's still on the radio today. Well, not the radio, but over the internet and stuff. Radio's dead pretty much. But back in '94, I used to listen to this computer show called Kim Commando. That's where I learned about a program called Go to My PC, where you could pull up your work desktop on the home computer. Yeah. Yeah. What VMware does is pretty much, besides servers, I did desktop. So you can pretty much get to your desktop from anywhere. It would feel like on any device you use, it would feel like your desktop. It would be your desktop basically, not feel like it would be your. So if say like you had a computer at your cubicle and the computer blew up and burned up, it wouldn't matter because your computer wasn't really on that computer. They would just replace it, add it in, and you would connect to your computer. So the physical computer would be irrelevant. So data wouldn't have to be on a laptop. So if you had a work laptop, but you accessed it via the work virtual machine and somebody stole a laptop, there would be no information on the laptop because the information didn't reside there. It'd be reside virtually at your company. The 64 is for programmers, way ahead of IBM. Okay, Commodore 64. Gotcha. We'll catch you on Discord. We've been pretty active information exchanging lately. Yeah, it's been more. I noticed that a lot of the Discord server has been more active, and which is cool. And I understand. The world we live in, it's not going to be a bunch of people. Look at Dave Ramsey. He has 1 million followers, but like Gossip Channel have millions of followers. That should tell you the difference, right? All right, you guys, time to wrap it up. Thank you everybody for joining. Appreciate you guys. 2 hours 45 minutes. Wow, didn't realize I was on that long. Yeah. There's the Discord server just in case you guys want to jump on and try to connect right now while we're waiting. And shout out to Hyphy for setting all that up. Hyphy got that together. And I got to get with Hyphy because Mike, SMD family member, had donated some money to get a shirt for a members only. For the members, a YouTube member. And I got to get that list to Hyphy. My bad. I dropped the ball on that. But I'm going to get this list to get this members list to Hyphy. We're going to pick a winner to get a free SMD shirt. I haven't went through the list of the members to get that to him yet, but I'm gonna get it down and get it to him so we can get this raffle going or get this drawing going. Shout out to Mike for that, Mike Rambo for the donation of that. And don't forget tomorrow 10 a.m. Ramil's channel. I don't know if he made a place marker for that yet, but I will check. He's doing a live. Is he on a live right now? No. Okay. Let me see if he made a place marker for. No, he hasn't made it. Usually Ramil just comes on. He don't really say, "Hey, I'm gonna be on at this particular time." So just let me give I'm gonna post a link right now of Ramil's channel so you guys can check him out. So you guys can get there tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Here is Ramil's channel. There you go. Zeke says, if I win, LJ, you can give it away to someone else. I want to buy my shirt. Okay, we'll do that. We will do that. I said, bring your tissue. Oh yeah, it's good. You guys know it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. I will be on camera so you guys can see my facial expressions. Okay, I know you guys like seeing my facial expression. I don't even realize I make some. You know what? I always have to go back when you guys tell me that. I always got to go back and look at my facial expressions. I don't realize I make that many facial expressions. I mean, okay. I see I close my eyes a lot when I can't help it when they say something very, very bad, like some kind of slave splaining. I just be like, "Oh my God, you are saying this out loud." I know Andre be like, Andre be all caps. They're saying this out loud. I'd be like, "Yep, they're saying it out loud. Look, slave. Look, SMD. Look, they're saying it out loud. They don't even know they're saying it out loud." I like that you guys are more vocal when I say vocal in the comments. I like you guys be in there saying that stuff because they'll try to try to get on you, but you guys just be like, "Oh no, that's slave splaining. No, you're slave splaining too. Yeah, you're doing it too. You're just doing it in the comments." But I really want you guys to pay attention to when Ramil drops the link, you'll see all the people in the comments just talking all kind of crap. But they will not click on that link. You know why? You know why? Because LJ will just slice them up with Ginsu knives. I'm excited about it too. It's fun. I love doing it, man. All right, you guys have a good. Oh, it's almost, man. I appreciate you guys staying up till almost 11 o'clock talking to me. Appreciate it. All right, you guys have a good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow 10 a.m. if you guys get there. Appreciate it. Later.